The secret that hurts everyone. Have you ever held on to a secret, a big one, that just felt heavy in your chest? What about a secret a whole group knows, or suspects, yet no one ever talks about it? This is a tough kind of dilemma. It's when there's a truth, a really important one, that everyone sees or feels, but we all pretend it isn't there, and because we stay silent, because we avoid the difficult conversation, it slowly starts to hurt everyone involved. Think about it. For a long time in history, people knew things deep down, but it was too scary or uncomfortable to say them out loud. Maybe a kingdom was failing, but no one dared tell the king, fearing his anger, or a difficult family problem everyone walked around on tiptoes to avoid. The ancient Greek philosopher Plato, even way back then, touched on how sometimes we choose to stay in the shadows of what we think we know, instead of stepping into the light of truth. It's like we build a shared, invisible wall of silence that traps us. Here's an everyday example. Imagine you're on a sports team, and one player isn't pulling their weight. Everyone sees it. You all notice how it affects practices, maybe even how it makes you lose games, but no one, not even the coach, says anything directly. Maybe you're afraid of making things awkward, or starting a fight. So, the problem just festers. The team gets frustrated, performance drops, and the fun drains away. This secret, the unspoken truth about that player's behavior, slowly hurts the whole team, because no one gives them a chance to understand or change. So, this isn't about hiding a surprise party. It's about a silence that carries a real, often invisible, cost. It's a quiet kind of harm that spreads, like a slow-moving shadow, over everything good. It reminds us that sometimes, the hardest truths need to be spoken, even if it feels uncomfortable. This is how healing begins, and how everyone can move forward honestly. The weight of an unacknowledged truth can sometimes be heavier and more damaging than any spoken word. Telling the truth when no one wants it. Have you ever held a heavy secret? Not one you chose, but the truth itself. Imagine knowing something vital, something real, but also knowing that sharing it would bring discomfort, maybe even pain, to those you care about. This isn't about hiding a mistake. It's about speaking a truth no one is ready to hear, or perhaps, no one wants to hear. It's a strange kind of burden. We often prefer comfort. We like our ideas neat, our future certain, our present untroubled. But sometimes, reality is messy. It's like a quiet whisper inside you, demanding to be heard. People throughout time have faced this. Think about those who shared new ideas, like that the earth wasn't the center of everything. That message wasn't easy, and many pushed back. But truth, once spoken, slowly finds its way. Here's the thing. It takes real courage to be that voice. Picture a friend excited about a big project for school. They've poured their heart into it, but you see a major flaw, a part that won't work. Telling them might dim their excitement. They might feel upset, even defensive. It's hard to be the one who points out the problem. But if you don't, they'll face a bigger disappointment later when the project fails. So, you decide, comfort now, or a deeper truth that stings but saves them from a bigger fall. This choice feels heavy. It asks us to care more about what is real and necessary, even over what is easy or polite. It's a quiet act of strength. It means holding up a mirror, gently, for others to see something they might not like. But true care sometimes looks like challenging moments. A foundation built on truth, however difficult, is always stronger, and that's why it matters. The promise you can't keep. Have you ever said something you absolutely meant in your heart? A promise whispered or spoken loud, only to find later that the world had other plans. This isn't about someone choosing to break their word. This is about those deeper, trickier dilemmas where a promise, made with pure intention, becomes impossible to keep. It's a heavy weight, isn't it? Knowing you want to deliver, but you simply can't. Think about the weight of words long ago. Ancient people often made oaths, vowing things by the gods, or the very earth. They understood that a promise was a sacred thing, a binding spell almost. But even they knew that forces larger than any human could interfere. They built stories around fate, around destiny, because they saw how often our best intentions could crash against the unyielding wall of reality. It's like promising the sunrise won't happen, or that the tide won't turn. You can want it with all your might, but some things are beyond our power. Here's the thing. Imagine you promise your best friend you'll always be there for them, through thick and thin, no matter what, and you truly mean it. You picture years of shared secrets and support, but then, a few years later, your friend's family has to move across the ocean, or a serious illness makes it hard for them to even leave their house. Suddenly, being always there in the way you pictured becomes incredibly difficult, or even impossible, through no fault of your own or theirs. The intention, the love, is still real, but the promise itself, in its fullest, simplest form, bumps into the harsh edge of what life can throw at us. It makes you think about how little control we truly have over tomorrow. We can only promise our effort, our belief, our best try right now. The future is a shifting landscape, and sometimes, even the most heartfelt promises find themselves caught in its unpredictable currents. Maybe the real value of such a promise lies not in its guaranteed outcome, but in the pure, honest desire behind it when it was first spoken. It's a bittersweet truth, reminding us of our small place in a vast, changing world. Choosing between two best friends, have you ever imagined a moment where your heart is pulled in two different directions, and both ways feel like they might break? Picture this: you have two best friends. They are both amazing, like different parts of your soul. You care about them deeply, and you would never want to hurt either one. But what if a situation came up where you absolutely had to choose between them? Not just picking who to sit with at lunch, but a choice that means supporting one person, and in doing so, letting the other one down in a big way. Here's the thing about this kind of dilemma: there's no easy answer. It's not about finding the right choice, because every path you take seems to lead to some form of pain or sadness for someone you love. This isn't just a modern problem. Even ancient thinkers, long ago, wrestled with these impossible situations. They understood that sometimes, life places you in a spot where being loyal to one person means you can't be fully loyal to another. It's a conflict of the heart, a truly tough spot where no one truly wins. They called these tragic choices, because they often end with a heavy heart. No matter what you do, think about it like this. Your best friend Maya needs you to help her prepare for a big, scary presentation on Saturday, and she's really counting on you. But your other best friend, Leo, just got surprising news and asks you to come celebrate with his family on that exact same Saturday. And it's a once-in-a-lifetime kind of event. You can't be in two places at once. If you go with Maya, Leo feels forgotten. If you go with Leo, Maya feels abandoned. But here's the problem. Explaining why you can't choose might just make both of them feel worse, and that's why it matters. This kind of dilemma makes us feel the true weight of our relationships. It teaches us that sometimes, even with all the love in the world, we can face situations where there isn't a happy ending for everyone. It's a quiet ache, a soft understanding that life can be messy, and sometimes, the best you can do is navigate the sadness with as much kindness as you can. Standing up alone for what's right, standing up alone for what's right, Have you ever been in a situation where everyone else was doing one thing, but deep down, you just knew it wasn't right? It's a heavy feeling, isn't it? This is about that exact moment, when you choose to stand alone for what you believe is good, fair, or true, even when it means going against the crowd. It takes a quiet kind of bravery, a strength that comes from inside you, not from how many friends are standing with you. Think about people throughout history. Many times, big changes started because just one person, or a small group, decided something was wrong and spoke up. Like Rosa Parks, who simply refused to give up her seat on a bus. That wasn't just a small act. It was a powerful stand for justice, and it helped spark a massive movement. She stood alone in that moment, but her conviction resonated with so many. Here's the thing. Your moral compass, that inner guide, can sometimes point in a different direction than everyone else's. Here's a common example. Imagine your friends are laughing at someone in class, maybe making fun of their new haircut. You know it's not kind, and it makes you feel uncomfortable. It's easy to stay quiet, to just blend in, but standing up alone means maybe you say, "Hey, that's not cool," or you simply walk away from the group. It might feel scary, and your friends might even give you a strange look. But in that moment, you're choosing kindness over popularity, truth over silence, and that's why it matters so much. When you listen to that inner voice, you're building integrity, which is about being honest and having strong moral principles. It reminds us that our own conscience is a powerful thing. Sometimes, the bravest act isn't a loud shout, but a steady, quiet step in the direction you know is right. Even if you're the only one taking it, it shows a deep respect for yourself and for what is truly good in the world. The lie that keeps peace, asterisk, asterisk, the lie that keeps peace, asterisk, asterisk. Have you ever wondered if some truths are just too heavy to carry? Imagine a quiet understanding, an unspoken agreement, where everyone involved gently pretends something isn't quite real, all to keep the world from falling apart. This is the idea of the lie that keeps peace. It's not about being mean or tricky. It's about a deep, difficult choice, made with a heavy heart, to avoid a bigger pain. Sometimes, facing a raw, painful truth can shatter everything. Think about societies from long ago. Maybe a whole community found strength and unity in a simple story about their beginnings. A tale that gave them hope and helped them stick together, building their homes and lives side by side. If someone came along and proved that story false, the harsh reality might cause chaos, fear, or even war, breaking apart the very fabric of their world. So, people held on to the comforting story, even if, deep down, some knew it wasn't the complete picture. They chose to believe, or at least to act like they believed. It was a shared, silent agreement to prioritize unity and a fragile calm over a harsh reality. Here's the thing, we see this in smaller ways, too. Think about a close group of friends after a really big fight. There was a moment when everything felt broken. To move forward, to keep their bond, they might all subtly agree to let it go. They don't forget what happened, and maybe they don't even fully forgive, but they stop talking about it. They don't bring up the raw hurt directly anymore. That unspoken agreement, that quiet lie of not addressing the deep wound, can sometimes be the only way for them to stay friends and keep their group together. The silence itself becomes the peacekeeper. But here's the problem, and it's a profound one. What does it truly cost to live with that silence, year after year? What burden does it place on your heart to carry a truth you can never fully speak, or a wound that's never truly healed? This kind of lie, while it might prevent immediate explosive pain, can also cast a long, quiet shadow. It leaves you wondering about the true price of that fragile peace, and if it's a burden anyone should have to bear alone. Seeing someone cheat and saying nothing. Imagine you're taking a big test, and you glance over, you see a classmate, someone you know, quietly looking at notes hidden under their desk. What do? That moment, that flash of knowing, sets off a tiny alarm inside you. It's a dilemma, a tough choice. Do you say something, or do you pretend you didn't see? The world keeps spinning, but for you, time stops for a second. For thousands of years, people have thought about fairness and what's right. Ancient Greek thinkers, like Aristotle, talked about virtue, doing what's good and honest, even when it's hard. They believed our choices shape us. Not speaking up might feel easier in the moment, but it can leave a mark on your own sense of fairness. Here's the thing, it's a bit like watching a tiny crack form in a bridge. If you see it and say nothing, nothing happens right away. But that crack, that small dishonesty, can grow. It doesn't just affect the person cheating, it can make the whole system feel less trustworthy. Think about a team project where one person doesn't do their part, but still gets a good grade. It feels unfair to everyone else who worked hard. It can make you wonder if hard work even matters. So, this isn't about being a tattletale. It's about what kind of world we want to live in, and what person we want to be. When we see unfairness and stay silent, it's like giving a quiet nod to it. That silence can feel heavy. It makes you think about courage, not just big, heroic courage, but the quiet courage to stand for what you believe is right, even in your own heart. And sometimes, that's the toughest courage to find. It's okay to sit with that thought. The burden of knowing too much. Have you ever wished you could unknow something? Truly, erase a piece of information from your mind. It sounds strange, right? We usually think knowledge is power, a good thing. But sometimes, knowing too much can feel like carrying a heavy weight, a burden that settles deep inside you. Here's the thing, once you learn something, especially something difficult, you can't unlearn it. Your world shifts. Imagine you love a certain candy, then someone tells you exactly how it's made, and it's not very pleasant. Even if you still eat it, that information changes the experience. You can't enjoy it the same way. Long ago, thinkers explored this idea. The ancient Greeks had a myth about Pandora's box. When it opened, it released all kinds of troubles. Once out, those troubles couldn't be put back. The knowledge of their existence became permanent. That's a bit like how some deep truths work. Once you see them, they stay with you. Maybe you learn about a big problem in the world, something unfair, like how animals lose their homes or people struggle far away. Before you knew, you might have felt peaceful. But after you learn, you feel a kind of sadness, or even a sense of responsibility. Wanting to help, but being unable, adds to the burden. It's like seeing cracks in a perfect picture. You can't unsee them. The picture never looks quite the same. This can make your heart ache. So, while seeking knowledge is important, it's also about learning how to live with the truths we uncover. It's about finding strength in understanding, even when it brings a quiet sorrow. The deepest wisdom isn't just knowing, but knowing how to carry what you know with kindness and an open heart. When good intentions go wrong, have you ever tried to do something truly good, with all your heart, only to see it somehow go sideways? It's a strange and heavy feeling, isn't it? Like you had the best plan, the purest motive, but the outcome wasn't what you hoped for. This is what we mean by good intentions going wrong. It's not about being bad or trying to cause harm. It's about how our actions, even when driven by kindness or a desire to fix things, can sometimes lead to unexpected, difficult problems. The world is a complex place, and sometimes even the simplest choice can ripple out in ways we never imagined. Throughout history, people have faced this puzzle. Thinkers have often wondered why noble efforts can sometimes make things worse. They learned that understanding a problem fully is harder than it looks. We often see only a small part of a bigger picture. It's a humbling lesson. Even when your heart is in the right place, you need to think deeply about how your actions might affect everything around them. It's a quiet truth that tells us the world doesn't always follow our plans, no matter how good they seem. Here's an example. Imagine a town that brings in a new type of insect to eat another pest that's destroying crops. The intention is great, save the harvest. But sometimes, this new insect eats the pest and other helpful bugs, or it grows too much and becomes a pest itself. What started as a clever solution ends up creating a whole new, unexpected problem. This isn't because anyone wanted to hurt the environment. It was a good idea that simply didn't account for all the hidden connections in nature. So, when good intentions take a wrong turn, it leaves us with a quiet dilemma. It shows us that true wisdom means not just wanting to do good, but also carefully thinking about every possible consequence. It's a call to be more thoughtful, to pause and consider the wider circles our actions create. It means understanding that the path to a better world often needs more than just a good heart. It also needs a very careful mind. Fitting in when it means losing you. Do you ever feel a quiet pull, telling you to be different just to fit in? It's that strange moment when what others want clashes with who you truly are. You long to belong, to feel accepted, but sometimes belonging asks you to hide pieces of yourself. You might dim your own light, quiet your unique voice, just to blend. This trade-off can leave an empty ache, like a part of you has gone missing. This isn't a new struggle. For centuries, people from ancient thinkers to everyday folks have wrestled with this. They wondered if true connection comes from changing, or if it blooms when you're accepted as you are. It's a timeless puzzle. How do we connect without sacrificing the us that makes us unique? Think of a chameleon. It changes its color to match its surroundings, becoming almost invisible. Clever for hiding, right? But what if it forgot its original color? What if it couldn't change back to its true self? When we try too hard to fit in, we risk becoming like that chameleon, losing our unique patterns. Maybe you stop talking about a hobby because new friends don't get it, or you pretend to like music you don't enjoy. Slowly, these small changes pile up, until one day, you look in the mirror and wonder, who am I now? This isn't about being stubborn or never compromising. It's about the quiet, powerful act of remembering your own core, your own unique song. It asks a hard question. How much of yourself can you give away before there's nothing left for you? Maybe real strength isn't just in fitting in, but in finding spaces where your true self is welcomed, even celebrated. That's a deep, lasting kind of belonging. The friendship that changed. Have you ever wondered why some friendships feel like they could last forever, and then, slowly, or sometimes suddenly, they just shift? It's a strange, quiet kind of dilemma, isn't it? Not a big argument, not a falling out, but just a change in the air, a different rhythm. Here's the thing about friendships. They're alive. They grow and change just like we do. You start out sharing everything, from secret jokes to long walks home, and you imagine it will always be. But then life happens. Maybe one of you moves to a different town, or your interests just start going in separate directions. Like two roads that once ran side by side, but now curve away. People have thought about this for a very long time. Thousands of years ago, Even ancient thinkers understood that friendships aren't always a straight line. They saw that these bonds could deepen or become something different, something quieter. They knew that human connections are beautiful, but also kind of mysterious in how they evolve. Think about a plant growing. When it's young, it might need lots of sunlight and water close by, but as it gets bigger, its roots spread. It reaches for new things. It doesn't mean it stopped loving the sun, but its needs differ. That's a bit like a friendship. You don't stop caring, but the way you connect, the energy you share, can change. It's a gentle kind of sadness, perhaps. When a friendship changes, you might feel a little lost, like a page turned too quickly in a favorite book. But it's also a quiet reminder that change is a constant part of life, like the seasons. And sometimes, in that space where something shifts, we find new parts of ourselves, new paths to explore. It's part of understanding life's quiet dance. It teaches us about letting go, and about holding on to memories, even when the present feels different. Finding something you shouldn't have. You ever stumbled upon something, a hidden message, or a tucked away box, and felt that cold knot in your stomach? That feeling of finding something not meant for your eyes. It's strange. You're curious, of course, but there's also a wave of dread. This is one of those deep dilemmas. What do you do when you uncover a truth that wasn't yours to find? And now that you know, can you ever unknow it? People have thought about this for ages. Ancient stories tell us about Pandora. She opened a forbidden box. Out came troubles into the world. Her curiosity was powerful, but the consequence was huge. It's not just about a box. It's about knowledge itself. Sometimes, knowing something changes everything. It changes how you see people, or the world, or even yourself. And that knowledge, once it's inside you, can be a heavy thing to carry. Imagine you're helping a friend clean their room. You move an old book, and a hidden letter slips out. It's not addressed to you. You see a name, maybe a parent's name, or a secret message. Your eyes quickly scan a few words before you can stop yourself. You just found out something very personal. Now, you hold this secret. Do you pretend you never saw it? Do you tell your friend? Or do you just let it sit there, burning in your mind? This isn't always about right or wrong choices. It's about the burden of unexpected knowledge. Finding something you shouldn't have can suddenly place a heavy weight on your shoulders. It makes you realize that sometimes, not knowing can be a kind of peace. Once you know, you can't go back. The world shifts, and you have to live with that shift. It teaches us that some truths are heavy. Curiosity, though powerful, can lead us to places we weren't ready for. The question isn't just what to do, but how to live with the fact that you now hold this knowledge. The words you can't take back. Have you ever said something you immediately wished you could unsay? That feeling, a knot in your stomach, like the words flew out before your brain caught up. Here's the thing about words. Once they leave your mouth, they are out there in the world. You can apologize, you can explain, but you can't make them disappear. It's a strange, heavy truth, how something invisible, just sounds we make, can have such lasting power. This isn't a new idea. People have understood this deep truth for thousands of years. Old stories and wise sayings from cultures all over the world warn us about the power of our speech, reminding us that words carry real weight. Think about it like squeezing toothpaste out of a tube. Once that paste is out, even if you try really hard, you can't perfectly put it back in. It's messy, and some of it stays outside, changed forever. Our words are a lot like that. Once spoken, they create something new in the air, in someone's mind, in a relationship. They can build someone up, or they can tear them down. And because they can't be fully retrieved, their impact, whether good or bad, tends to stay. They linger like an echo. This isn't about guilt, but about understanding. It's about recognizing that what we choose to say, and how we say it, matters more than we often realize. Every word we utter becomes a small part of our story, and the stories of those around us. So, here's what I found. There's a quiet strength in choosing our words carefully, in pausing just for a second before we speak. It's a chance to build bridges, not burn them. And that's why it matters so much. Trusting someone who let you down. Have you ever felt that sinking feeling, that heavy knot in your stomach, when someone you truly believed in didn't keep their word? It's more than just being disappointed. It's like a tiny crack appears in a part of you that felt safe. And that's the dilemma. Do you try to mend it, or do you decide it's too broken to be the same? Here's the thing about trust. It's like a delicate glass sculpture. It takes time and careful hands to build it, piece by piece, connection by connection. But one careless moment, one drop, and it can shatter. History is full of stories, from ancient empires to quiet villages, where trust was everything. People relied on each other for survival, for peace. When that trust broke, the consequences were often huge, not just for the people involved, but for entire communities. This shows how deep this feeling goes. Think about a time you told a friend a secret, something really personal, and they promised not to tell anyone. But then, a few days later, you hear someone else talking about it. That feeling of betrayal, it stings, it makes you pull back. And then you wonder, can I ever trust them with anything important again? It's not about their apology or their reasons. It's about that broken feeling inside you. So, here's the problem. Letting someone back in, opening up again, it feels risky. It's like stepping onto a bridge that swayed violently in a storm. You can see it's still standing, but your heart remembers the fear. Do you brave it again, hoping it holds firm this time? Or do you find a different path, even if it's longer and lonelier? It's a choice without an easy answer. It asks us to weigh the pain of the past against the hope for the future. And sometimes, that weighing takes courage we didn't know we had. Human connections are complex. The choice that defines you have. You ever stopped and really felt the weight of a choice? Not the easy ones, like what to have for lunch, but those quiet moments when two paths appear and neither feels exactly right. What if these moments, when you pick one way over another, actually start to sketch the person you're becoming? Here's the thing. Sometimes, there's no clear correct answer. There are just tough options, maybe even confusing ones, and you alone have to make a call. Old thinkers, philosophers from ancient times, wondered about this idea. They spoke about character, what truly makes a good or brave person. They believed that our choices, especially when things get difficult, are like invisible threads weaving together. Each decision adds to your inner self. It's not about being perfect, but about the act of choosing itself, and what that act reveals. It's about building who you are. From the inside out. Think about a moment when you have a chance to help someone, but it means missing out on something fun for yourself. Maybe a friend needs to talk, and your favorite show is just starting. No one else will know what you chose. But the decision you make in that silent, personal space, when it's just you and your values, that choice carves a tiny pathway. It's like a single drop of water starting a stream. It shapes the landscape for all your future choices. It quietly becomes part of your story, a whispered truth about what matters to you. So, when you stand at the edge of those dilemmas with no easy way out, remember this truth. The choice itself, the struggle, the quiet, sometimes painful decision you make, it's not just about what happens next. It's about how you build your true self, piece by piece, one challenging moment at a time, and that's why it truly matters. It's a part of what makes you, uniquely you. Being the target of a group. Have you ever felt the spotlight suddenly switch on, but instead of cheering, it feels heavy and cold? What happens when a whole group, for reasons that might not even make sense, turns its focus onto just one person? It's a powerful, unsettling feeling to become the target, to be the one singled out by many eyes. Here's the thing, it's like suddenly becoming very visible, but also terribly alone, all at the same time. The air around you changes. It thickens with the unspoken thoughts and judgments of others. This isn't a new idea. For a very long time, people have understood how a group can pick one individual. Think about old stories or even moments in history where a community facing big problems, like a sickness spreading or crops failing, might look for someone to blame. They would choose one person, often someone already a bit different, and say, it's their fault. This person would become a scapegoat, carrying the weight of everyone else's fears and frustrations. It was a way for a group to feel like they were solving a problem, even if they were just redirecting their own pain. Imagine a simple example. A group of fish swimming peacefully, all looking the same. Then, one fish gets a small, bright mark. Suddenly, it stands out. For a moment, it might be just noticeable. But if a predator appears, or if the group feels threatened, that one marked fish becomes the easiest target. It didn't do anything wrong, but its difference makes it vulnerable. In our lives, it might be when a group of friends subtly, or not so subtly, starts excluding one person, making every social interaction feel like a test you can't pass. When you're the target, it can feel like a part of your spirit shrinks, trying to become invisible. It reminds us how much power groups hold, and how easily that power can turn unkind. But it also quietly teaches us about resilience, about finding your own steady ground when the world around you feels shaky. It's a reminder to look with empathy, and to remember the quiet strength in standing up for what's right, especially when it's not the easiest path. The rules that don't make sense. Have you ever looked at something and just thought, why? Not just a small why, but a deep, quiet why that echoes inside you. Sometimes, life presents us with rules. They can be spoken, like laws in a book, or unspoken, like how we expect people to act. And sometimes, these rules just don't make any sense at all. But here's the thing, we're often trapped by them. There's no easy way out, no clear answer why they exist. Think about it. Long ago, people started building societies. They made rules to live together. Over hundreds of years, some of those rules changed, but some just stuck around. They became part of how things work. Maybe the original reason is long gone, lost to time, but the rule itself remains. It's like an old path in the woods everyone still follows, even if a better path opened up ages ago. The old path is just there. Here's an example. Imagine you're riding your bike late at night. It's really, really late, like 2 a.m. The streets are completely empty. Not a single car in sight, not a person. You come to a traffic light, and it turns red. You know there's no one else around. It feels silly, even a little bit absurd, to stop, but you do. You stop, even though every part of you knows it's pointless in that moment. Why? Because it's the rule, and breaking it, even when it feels wrong, still has consequences. This can help you understand those deeper dilemmas. It's about situations where the logic seems broken, but the structure holds firm. It's a quiet feeling, like a sigh for things that just are. We live in a world with these strange, strong boundaries, and sometimes, all we can do is notice them, feel their weight, and wonder. It's a part of our shared human story, this quiet struggle with rules that don't quite add up. Giving up versus holding on. Have you ever stared at a tough puzzle or a huge challenge? There's a quiet voice inside us. It whispers, "Stop, it's too much." Then, another voice, softer, says, "No, not yet. Keep trying." This push and pull is the dilemma of giving up versus holding on. It's not just about winning or losing. It's about deep, personal moments. You face a choice. Let go of this effort or dream, or dig deeper, find more strength, and keep going. It's a very human question. Humans have pondered this for ages. Ancient wise people wondered about true strength. They asked, when should we keep pushing? When does holding on become stubborn, causing only harm? They knew enduring pain could lead to great discovery. Yet, sometimes, letting go is the real courage. It frees you from what no longer serves you. It's about knowing your limits and your power. Think about learning guitar. Your fingers hurt. Chords sound terrible. You want to just quit. That's the giving up feeling. But practice a little. A simple tune sounds right one day. That's the reward of holding on. But what if, after years, you still hate it, or it causes stress? Then letting go isn't quitting. It's choosing a better path. There's no single right answer, ever. It changes with every person, every situation. Wisdom isn't always choosing one over the other. It's knowing yourself well enough. Feel which path truly honors your spirit. Listen to that quiet, honest voice inside you. Remember, both choices take courage. The responsibility no one wants of you. Ever noticed how quickly hands go down when a really tough job needs doing? Not the fun kind of tough, like winning a game. Instead, it's the kind where someone has to make a truly hard call. It's a choice where, no matter what you pick, someone might get hurt, or things might not end well. That's the responsibility no one wants. It's the heavy feeling of knowing the outcome, good or bad, rests squarely on your shoulders. And there's no way to pass that feeling off. Think back to old stories. Even kings and queens, long ago, faced choices that felt impossible. Do you go to war? Many will suffer. Or do you surrender? Your people might lose everything. There was no perfect answer, just a heavy weight on one person's heart. It's the moment when the path ahead is muddy, and every step feels like sinking a little deeper. Here's a simpler way to think about it. Imagine you're the captain of a school sports team. The big championship game is next week, but your best player just broke a rule. Do you bench them? You might lose the game and disappoint everyone. Or do you let them play? Then you know it's unfair and breaks team rules. Either way, it feels terrible. It's a decision that lands squarely on you, and there's no easy exit, no blame to shift. The quiet ache of knowing you have to choose is often the hardest part, and that's why this specific kind of dilemma feels so heavy. It reminds us that sometimes life doesn't offer easy outs. Some burdens are just ours to carry, even if it feels lonely. And maybe, just maybe, finding the quiet strength to carry it is part of what makes us human. It's a heavy truth, yes, but also a deeply honest one about growing up. The unfair advantage you get. Have you ever faced a choice where every path felt wrong? Like you're stuck, and there's no good answer, no easy way out. It feels heavy, doesn't it? Almost unfair. But here's the thing about these impossible dilemmas. They give you a strange, secret gift, an advantage others might not get. When you're caught in a truly tough spot, with no clear win, your mind starts working differently. You have to dig deeper, past the easy answers. People have noticed this for thousands of years. Ancient thinkers would say true strength comes from facing trouble, not avoiding it. They saw how hard moments could quietly change a person for the better. It's like a fire that burns away what isn't needed, leaving something stronger behind. Here's what I found. Your brain is a bit like a muscle. When you lift something heavy, your muscles rebuild, becoming stronger. Our minds do something similar when we wrestle with big, confusing problems. Imagine a really hard puzzle. At first, it's frustrating. Nothing fits. But the more you struggle, the more you learn to see patterns, to think in new ways. You become a better puzzle solver. You gain new ways of understanding the world and yourself. So, when you face a dilemma with no simple answer, remember this. It's not just a roadblock. It's a hidden training ground. Truly grappling with something difficult, staying with the discomfort, grows you. It carves out a new space inside for wisdom and understanding. You walk away, not with an answer perhaps, but with a deeper sense of who you are and what you can handle. That quiet strength, that new perspective, that's your unfair advantage. It makes you ready for whatever comes next, in a way an easy life never could. When winning feels like losing, have you ever worked so hard for something, finally got it, and then felt nothing, or maybe even worse, a deep sadness? It's a strange feeling, isn't it? To win, to achieve, to reach the top, but then look around and see only emptiness or regret. This is when winning truly feels like losing. Here's the thing, sometimes the path to victory costs too much. We might push people away, sacrifice our true selves, or give up things that truly matter. Imagine a general from ancient times. He wins a huge battle, but almost all his soldiers die. He won the day, yes, but at such a terrible cost that his army is destroyed. This is called a Pyrrhic victory, named after King P. He once said, "Another such victory, and I am undone." He won, but he lost everything important. Think about it this way. Maybe you really want to win a specific award at school. You spend all your time studying. You stop hanging out with friends. You even snap at your family because you're so stressed. You push everyone away. Then, you win the award. You hold it. But you look around, and your friends aren't there to celebrate. You feel alone. Was the award really worth losing those connections? Was it truly a win if it left you feeling empty inside? It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What's the real prize? Is it just the trophy, or is it the journey? Is it how we treat people along the way? Sometimes, the biggest victories aren't about what you gain. They're about what you manage to keep. Your kindness, your friends, your own peace. And that's why it matters to think about what a real victory means to you. The price of belonging. Have you ever felt that deep pull, that strong wish to truly belong somewhere? To be part of a group, a team, a circle of friends, where you just fit asterisk. It's a natural feeling. We all want to feel connected, but sometimes, belonging asks for something in return. It might be a small thing, like changing how you dress, or it could be much bigger, like changing who you truly are. Here's the thing, humans have always formed groups. For thousands of years, living in tribes was how we survived. We felt safer and stronger together. This need to belong is woven into our history, a deep echo from ancient times. It helps us find our place. But these groups often set rules, spoken or not, about what was right for their members. Think about a school project group. Everyone works together. You might have an idea, but the group picks someone else's. You put your idea aside for the project's good, for the team to succeed. You give up a little individual preference for the group's harmony. It's like that with people. Maybe your friends all love a certain trend, but you don't. Do you pretend to like it just to fit in, to ensure you get invited? Or maybe you have a strong opinion different from your group's. Do you stay quiet, or agree, just to avoid feeling left out? The price of belonging can be giving up a piece of your true self, your unique thoughts. It's a quiet trade-off. We long for connection, and that's okay. But we must ask, how much of our own light are we willing to dim? It's a hard question. Both belonging and being true to yourself matter. Perhaps true connection shouldn't ask us to change, but instead, celebrate who we already are. Living with a hidden regret. Have you ever done something, or maybe done something, that you wish you could go back and change, but it's a secret. No one else really knows about it. That quiet, heavy thought that sometimes surfaces when you're alone, that's often a hidden regret. It's a moment locked away inside you, a choice you made, or missed, that still whispers in the back of your mind. Humans have carried these quiet burdens for centuries. Think of old stories, even ancient myths. Heroes and ordinary people sometimes made mistakes they couldn't undo. They lived with the echo of a forgotten promise, or a chance they let slip away. It's part of being human, this heavy truth that some things can't be fixed, only carried. The regret becomes a silent companion, sometimes a quiet teacher. Imagine you've picked up a smooth, heavy stone. It fits right into your pocket. No one sees it, but you feel its weight pressing against your leg all day. That stone is a bit like a hidden regret. Maybe you didn't speak up when a friend was picked on, and you've felt bad ever since. Or maybe you had a chance to try something cool, but fear held you back, and now you wonder what might have been. The world keeps moving, but that stone, that moment, stays with you. It's okay to have these feelings. They are part of growing up, part of learning what matters. Living with a hidden regret doesn't mean you're stuck there forever. It means you understand that choices have power, and sometimes those choices leave marks. The quiet act of carrying it, of simply knowing it's there, can gently guide you. It can make you more thoughtful, careful, and maybe a little kinder in the future. It's a quiet reminder to live each day with more intention, to try and make choices you won't need to hide. The message you can't unsend. Hive. You ever hit send on a text or posted something online, and instantly wished you could take it back? That knot in your stomach, the sudden cold fear, knowing those words are out there. It's a feeling almost everyone knows, and that feeling touches on a deep, old dilemma. What do we do when our words, our actions, or even a moment in time, become fixed and unchangeable? Here's the thing about messages, not just texts, but any communication or action. Once they leave us, they gain a life of their own. For centuries, people have wrestled with this idea. The ancient Romans had a saying, verba vomente, scripta menant, which means spoken words fly away, written words remain. But in our world today, even spoken words can be recorded and shared forever. It's like throwing a stone into a still pond. The ripples spread out, and you can't call the stone back once it's hit the water. The pond will never be exactly the same. Think about a time you might have said something hurtful in anger, maybe to a friend or family member. Even if you apologize later, sincerely, those words still hung in the air for a moment. They changed the atmosphere. They left a tiny mark, a memory, and that mark, in some small way, stays. Or consider a lie told. Once spoken, it creates a new path in reality. Even if you try to fix it, the truth eventually comes out, but the lie already did its work. So, this isn't just about deleting a message on your phone. It's about the deep truth that some things, once they happen, once they are said or done, can't be undone. The impact echoes. It makes you pause, doesn't it? It makes you think about the power you hold every time you speak, every time you act. It asks us to be careful, to think before we press send, before we speak. Because some messages, once released, can never truly be unsent. What if I had said no? Have you ever found yourself thinking back to a moment, a single decision, and wondering what if I had said no instead of yes? Or yes instead of no? It's that quiet question that sometimes sits with us, about the paths we didn't take. Every choice we make, big or small, closes off countless other possibilities. It's like standing at a fork in the road, picking one way, and then forever wondering where the other road might have led. People have thought about this for a very long time, for centuries. Not just philosophers in old books, but everyday folks throughout history. It's part of being human, this feeling of what if. It's not always about regret. Sometimes, it's just a deep curiosity about how different our lives could be with one tiny shift. Imagine if a famous inventor had decided to stay home that day, or a leader had chosen silence instead of a speech. The whole world could have changed. Think about something simple, like deciding which group to sit with at lunch, or whether to join that after-school club. Maybe you chose to try out for the play, and because of that, you met a new friend who introduced you to your favorite band. But what if you had said no to the play? Would you have met that friend? Would you have ever heard that music? It shows how one little yes or no can ripple out, touching so many other parts of your story in ways you couldn't have imagined. And here's the thing. We can never truly know the answer to what if. Those other paths are just possibilities, dreams in our minds, but the path we did take, that's our actual story. It's the one we're living right now, with all its unexpected turns and beautiful moments. So, while it's natural to wonder, maybe the real power isn't in looking back at what wasn't, but in truly seeing the amazing, unique journey that is ours, because of the choices we did make. It makes our life, this very moment, feel special, doesn't it? What if I had said yes? Have you ever stopped and wondered about a moment, a choice, where you said no? You might have felt a small tug, a whisper in your mind asking, what if I had said yes instead? This feeling is a quiet kind of dilemma, one that doesn't have an answer, but lives in the space of possibilities. It's about the paths we didn't walk, the doors we didn't open, and the stories that never got to start. Here's the thing. Every single day we make countless choices. Most are small, like what to wear or what to eat, but some feel bigger, like deciding whether to try out for a team, join a club, or speak up when you have something important to say. For centuries, thinkers have pondered this. They've looked at how our lives are like a tree, with branches spreading out from every decision we make. Each choice is a fork in the road, and once you pick a path, the other one fades into imagination. Think about this for a second. Maybe a friend asked you to try out for the school play. You said no, feeling a little shy or too busy. What if you had said yes? Maybe you would have found a new passion, met new friends, or even discovered a hidden talent for acting. You might have felt nervous, but perhaps that yes would have led to unforgettable laughter and memories. Your life would have taken a slightly different turn, maybe a big one. It's not about regretting the past, but understanding how profoundly simple words can shape our world. So, when that what-if thought floats into your mind, let it be a gentle reminder. It shows us how rich and complex life is, how every moment holds so many unseen possibilities. It teaches us to think about our choices, not with fear, but with a deep sense of wonder for the roads taken, and the roads that might have been. The ghost of a past mistake. Have you ever done something, said something, that you wished you could just rewind and undo? It's a feeling many of us know well. This isn't just about remembering a bad choice, it's about how that choice can linger, like a whisper in the back of your mind, a shadow you can't quite shake. We call it the ghost of a past mistake. It's not a real ghost, of course. It's the way a past action can feel present, still influencing us, even after time has passed. Think about it. For centuries, people have written stories and poems about regret. Ancient philosophers talked about how our actions have consequences, like ripples in a pond. Even if the stone is gone, the ripples keep moving. That's the core idea here. We make a decision, something goes wrong, and even if we apologize or try to fix it, that feeling, that memory, can stick with us. It can feel like it's always there, watching. Here's the thing. Imagine you accidentally break your favorite mug, one that a grandparent gave you. You didn't mean to. You feel awful, even after you clean it up, or maybe even get a new mug. Every time you reach for a cup, a little part of you remembers the broken one. That feeling of sadness or frustration, it pops up. It's a reminder. It's a bit like that mug. The actual mistake is done, but its echo, its ghost, stays. Your brain replays it, not to torture you, but maybe to make sure you're more careful next time. And that's why it matters. These ghosts can be heavy, but they're also part of being human. They teach us about cause and effect, about kindness, about thinking before we act. They remind us that even when we can't change what's done, we can choose how we carry it and how we move forward. A little wiser, a little more aware. It's about understanding that our past isn't just behind us. Sometimes it walks beside us, a silent guide. When apologies aren't enough, have you ever said "I'm sorry," truly meant it, but still felt a heavy silence afterward? Or saw the person you hurt just nod, their eyes telling you things weren't quite fixed? Here's the thing. Sometimes, saying sorry, even with all your heart, isn't enough to mend what's truly broken. It's a tough idea, that our words might not hold all the power we wish. We learn to apologize early, seeing it as a simple magic spell to make things right. but some actions leave marks too deep for just words to erase. Think about ancient ideas of justice. Even old sayings like an eye for an eye, while harsh, hinted that some harm creates a lasting debt. It was about showing consequences are real, and some damage is permanent. Imagine you accidentally spilled dark paint on a friend's favorite, irreplaceable old book. You can apologize 100 times, offer to clean it, even try to buy a new one, but the stain is still there. The pages are ruined. The memory of what happened is stuck to that book. Just like the paint, it's not just about the book. It's about the feeling of care and trust that also got stained. That feeling is hard to get back to how it was. This isn't to say apologies are useless. They're a vital first step, owning our mistakes and showing we care, but they aren't a magic eraser. Sometimes, the true weight of our actions means that even after an apology, a crack remains. We learn then that honesty about what we've done, and a quiet understanding of the lasting impact, is part of growing up. It's facing the quiet truth that some things, once broken, can only ever be put back imperfectly, leaving a reminder of the lesson learned. The fear of letting go. Have you ever held on to something so tightly, maybe an old toy or a friendship, even when you knew deep down it was time for a change? That feeling, that heavy grip, is often the fear of letting go. It's a deep, quiet worry inside us. It's not just about losing something, but about what comes next, the unknown. We hold on because what's familiar feels safe, even if what we're clinging to isn't good for us anymore. The thought of letting it slip away can feel like falling into empty space. Here's the thing. People have wrestled with this feeling for a very long time. Thinkers, even way back in ancient times, noticed how hard it was for humans to accept that everything changes. They saw that life is always moving, like a river flowing. Nothing stays exactly the same forever. But our hearts, they want things to stay constant, to be predictable. We build routines, habits, and attachments. And when those things start to shift, it can make us feel lost and uncomfortable. Think about a caterpillar. This little creature spends its whole life eating leaves, crawling around. It knows how to be a caterpillar. But then, a time comes when it has to build a chrysalis. It has to let go of being a caterpillar, of its old body and way of life. That must be a scary moment. But here's what happens. By letting go, by disappearing inside that shell, it eventually emerges as something completely new, something beautiful and able to fly. It becomes a butterfly. It had to let go of everything it knew to grow into its next, bigger self. And that's why it matters to us. We might not be turning into butterflies, but we face similar moments. Maybe it's a phase of life ending, a change in school, or even just growing up and seeing old ways differently. It's okay to feel that fear. It's a natural human emotion. But sometimes, letting go isn't about losing. It's about making space. It's about trusting that on the other side of what we release, there might be something new. Something that helps us spread our own wings and truly grow. It's a brave step toward becoming who we're meant to be. The fear of holding on. Have you ever held on to something, maybe a broken toy or an old drawing, long after it stopped making you happy? You know it's time to let it go, but you just can't. That feeling, that's what we call the fear of holding on. It sounds a little strange, right? We usually talk about being afraid to let go but sometimes the real fear is in keeping something that no longer helps us, something that might even be quietly hurting us. It's not about the thing itself, but what it means to us, comfort, memories, or just the idea of what was . Think about it. Humans have always done this. Ancient thinkers, thousands of years ago, talked about how we get stuck. We cling to old ways of thinking, old habits, even old belongings, when new, better paths are right there. It's part of our nature to feel safe with what's familiar, even if that familiar place isn't good anymore. It feels safe because it's known, and the unknown can be scary. Here's an example. Imagine your favorite pair of sneakers. They're old, ripped, and too small now. They hurt your feet when you wear them, but you remember all the good times you had in them, the games you played, so you keep them in your closet, even though you never wear them. They take up space. They remind you of the past, but also of the discomfort they now cause. You're holding on to the idea, of what they were, not what they are. So, the fear isn't just about losing something, it's also about what we gain by letting go. New space, new chances, or just relief from carrying something heavy. It's a quiet challenge to look at what we're carrying and ask, is this still helping me? Or am I just afraid of the emptiness if I put it down? Sometimes, true strength isn't in holding tight, but in gently releasing the truth that nobody wants to hear. Have you ever felt that sinking feeling when you realize something important, but also really hard to accept? It's like a puzzle piece finally clicks into place, but the picture it completes isn't quite what you hoped for. This feeling, this moment of deep clarity that brings a quiet ache, is often what we call the truth nobody wants to hear. It's not about secrets or lies, but about deep realities that challenge our comfort. For a long time, people believed the sun went around the earth. It felt right. It made sense, because we saw the sun moving across the sky. But then thinkers like Copernicus and Galileo came along. They showed, with proof, that it was actually the earth moving around the sun. That was a huge truth nobody wanted to hear at first. It meant everything they thought they knew about their place in the universe was wrong. It was scary, and it made people uncomfortable. They didn't want to give up their old ideas. Think about when you realize a video game you love isn't actually fair, or that a friend you trusted wasn't really on your side. It hurts. It messes with your expectations. You might even try to ignore it, to pretend it's not true. But the truth is still there, isn't it? It sits quietly, waiting for you to see it. Here's the thing. Facing these difficult truths is a big part of growing up. It helps us see the world more clearly, not just how we wish it was. It teaches us about resilience. It shows us that even when things are tough to swallow, understanding them helps us move forward, a little wiser, a little stronger. It's a quiet courage to look at reality, even when it's not pretty, and say, okay, I see it now. Doing the right thing when it feels wrong. Have you ever felt that icy grip of knowing what you should do, but your stomach twists, and every part of you just wants to run the other way? It's a strange, heavy feeling. This is about those moments when your feelings and your deep down knowing clash. Your emotions might scream for what's easy, popular, or safe right now, but that quiet voice inside you, your conscience, whispers about what is genuinely right, what is truly fair or kind, even if it promises discomfort or even sadness. For thousands of years, people have wrestled with this exact struggle. Ancient thinkers, long before us, understood that sometimes the path to being a good person isn't paved with sunshine or easy smiles. It's often rocky, shadowed, and can feel lonely. They knew that real courage isn't about having no fear. Instead, it's about acting despite that fear, especially when it means doing what is honorable. It's a choice to uphold a deeper truth, even when it challenges your comfort. Think about seeing a friend make a really bad choice, one that could seriously hurt them or someone else. Telling them the truth, speaking up, could mean they get angry at you. It might lead to an argument, or even them pulling away for a while. Your brain might say, just be quiet, avoid the drama. But your heart knows, your conscience whispers, they need to hear this. You have to be honest, even if it's uncomfortable for everyone involved. That moment of choosing to speak up, despite the knot in your chest and the fear of losing a friend, that's doing the right thing when it feels utterly wrong. And here's the thing about those moments. They don't just pass. Each time you choose the harder right over the easier wrong, you build a stronger sense of who you are. You learn what true integrity means. It's a quiet strength that doesn't scream for attention, but it holds you steady when the world tries to shake you. It's a promise to yourself that you will try to live with courage, even when it costs you something. It leaves a mark, a deep, true one. The betrayal you saw coming. Have you ever had that heavy feeling, deep down, that something bad was about to happen? Not just a guess, but a certainty, like a cold stone settling in your stomach. Here's the thing. You knew it involved someone you cared about. Someone about to let you down, or worse, betray your trust. That's the core of this dilemma. It's not just the pain of the betrayal itself, but the slow, agonizing wait for it. Like watching a storm gather, knowing it will hit. Think about it. We're talking about knowing someone you thought was solid is cracking, or seeing them make choices that will definitely hurt you. History and old stories are full of people who saw future pain. Imagine an ancient prophet like Cassandra in Greek myths. She could see terrible events coming, but no one believed her. Her agony wasn't just seeing the future. It was the powerlessness of watching it unfold, unable to change a thing. Even when she warned everyone, she carried that heavy knowledge alone. Here's a way to think about it in your own life. Maybe you've seen a friend slowly change. They start hanging out with a different group, making jokes that aren't kind, or doing things that feel wrong. You see the path they're on, And you know, deep down, it will end with them hurting you, or your friendship. You try to tell them, maybe, but your words just bounce off. You see the friendship slowly unraveling, piece by piece, even before the big moment. This kind of knowing isn't a superpower, it's a burden. It's a silent, lonely pain. It leaves you feeling helpless, watching the inevitable approach, and that's why it matters. It teaches us about the hard truth of human connection, how fragile trust can be, and how powerless we sometimes are, even seeing the cracks appear. This feeling, this dilemma, makes you wonder, is it better to know, or to be caught by surprise? It's a heavy question with no easy answer. The story you can't tell. Have you ever had a feeling, a moment, or a thought so deep that you just couldn't find the words for it? It's like a story lives inside you, but it refuses to be told. Not because you don't want to, but because it feels too big, or too fragile to put into words. This is the story you can't quite tell. It sits there, a quiet weight in your chest. You carry it, and sometimes it feels lonely, sometimes heavy, but it's completely yours. People throughout history have felt this. Ancient poets and artists tried to capture feelings bigger than words. They knew some truths aren't easily shared, and sometimes silence is a language all its own. Here's the thing. Maybe you felt a huge wave of confusion after a friend said something hurtful. You tried to explain it, but the words just tangled up. Or maybe you saw something truly beautiful, like a sunset that took your breath away. And when you tried to describe it later, the words just fell flat. They couldn't capture the magic, the exact feeling you had inside. And that's the dilemma. This story, this feeling, it yearns to be understood, but it resists being spoken. It stays a secret, not because you chose it, but because it simply can't leave. It reminds us that not everything has a neat ending or a perfect explanation. Sometimes, the most real parts of us are the ones that only we truly know. These are the stories that stay just out of reach, deep within our own hearts. And maybe, in that silence, there's a different kind of powerful truth. The person you used to be. Do you ever wonder about the person you were, maybe just last year, or even last week? It's a strange thought, but that person isn't quite you anymore. Here's the thing, we're always changing, little by little, even without truly noticing. Think of it this way, your body replaces most of its cells over time. The skin cells you had 7 years ago are all gone, replaced by new ones. Even your bones are slowly renewing themselves. In a way, your physical self is completely new every few years. This idea isn't new. Ancient Greek thinkers, like Heraclitus, talked about how everything flows, like a river. He famously said, you can never step into the same river twice. The water is always moving, always fresh. It's the same with us. Every experience, every new thing you learn, every conversation you have, it all shifts something inside you. Your thoughts change, your feelings grow, and your understanding of the world deepens a little. Remember elementary school, the things you cared about then, the dreams you had, the way you saw friends and family. Some of that might feel so far away now. You've grown, you've learned, you've felt joy and sadness and confusion, and all of that has molded you into who you are right now. So, who is the real you? Maybe it's not a single, fixed thing. Maybe it's more like a journey, a constant becoming. This means you're always capable of new growth, new understanding. You are a story always being written, and that's actually a pretty amazing thought. It means every day holds the chance to become someone slightly different, someone new. Being happy versus making others happy. Have you ever wondered if your own happiness is enough, or if making others happy matters more? It's a quiet question many of us carry, a feeling that sometimes pulls us in two directions. On one side, there's the clear joy of doing something just for yourself. On the other, there's the warm feeling you get when a friend or family member smiles because of you. It's a deep pull, wondering if your own joy should shine brightest, or if it should be shared and even created through others. Here's the thing, this isn't a new problem. People have wrestled with this thought for thousands of years. Ancient thinkers, long ago, asked what makes a good life. Was it just about feeling good, or about living in a way that helped others? They wondered if true happiness meant only looking inward, or if it reached out to touch the people around you. They found it's a tricky balance, like a tightrope walk between me and us. They understood that finding this balance is part of growing up and understanding the world. Here's how it works. Imagine you've saved up 4 weeks to buy that new video game you've been dreaming about. You're so excited, but then, your younger sibling comes to you, upset because they broke their favorite toy. You could fix it if you used some of your game money for parts. So, do you buy your game and enjoy your personal victory? Or do you spend that money on parts, fix the toy, and watch your siblings' face light up, even if it means waiting longer for your own joy? It's not always about making a grand sacrifice. Sometimes, it's just a small choice in a day, and that's why it matters. There's no easy answer, no magic formula, but here's what I found. Maybe true happiness isn't a lonely island, but more like a bridge. It connects your own quiet contentment with the shared smiles of others. It's a gentle reminder that our hearts are big enough to hold both. It's about finding that soft spot where our own well-being and the well-being of those we care about can both bloom. The reputation you didn't earn. Have you ever felt like people saw you one way, but it wasn't really you asterisk? It's a strange feeling when others have an idea about you that you didn't create. This is the reputation you didn't earn. It's when judgments, good or bad, are placed on you because of things you can't control. Maybe it's your family name, where you grew up, or just a story someone else told. You didn't earn this perception, but there it is, a shadow or a spotlight that isn't truly yours. For a long time, people were often judged just by who their parents were. Someone born into a powerful family might get respect they didn't earn, but someone from a struggling village might face suspicion, even if they were kind and honest. Philosophers, even long ago, wondered about this. How much of who we are is truly ours, and how much is just given to us by the world, like a costume we didn't pick? Here's an example. Imagine a new student arrives at your school. Maybe an older sibling went there years ago. That sibling might have been known as a troublemaker or a star athlete. Now, some people might already have an idea about the new student without even meeting them. They might expect trouble or greatness, not because of anything the new kid did, but because of that family connection. They're seeing the new student through a story that isn't their own. It's like judging a book by a worn cover that belongs to another story entirely. This kind of dilemma can feel heavy. It's an unfairness, isn't it? To carry a label that doesn't fit, to be seen through a lens you didn't choose. But here's the thing, it reminds us of something important. True understanding asks us to look past what's assumed. It asks us to truly see each person for their own journey, their own heart, and their own choices. That's how we find the truth, not in the stories given, but in the person standing right in front of us. The chance you missed forever. Have you ever thought about a moment that just vanished? A split second where you could have said something, done something, or even just noticed something, but you didn't. And now, that exact moment, with all its possibilities, is gone, completely gone, forever. Here's the thing about life, it moves forward. Like a river, it never flows backward. So, when a specific chance appears, a unique moment, it's there for a tiny window. If you don't grab it, if you hesitate, it just keeps moving, carrying that opportunity with it, out of your reach forever. People have thought about this for thousands of years. Ancient thinkers, long before us, used to talk about kairos, not just time on a clock, but the right or opportune moment. It's about understanding that some moments are special, rare, and if you miss them, they don't loop back around. It's not about regret, but about recognizing time's quiet power. Think about this. Maybe there was a day your friend looked a little sad. You thought about asking, "Are you okay?" But you got distracted by your phone or another friend. That specific chance to connect, in that exact moment, with that particular look on their face, passed. Later, you could ask, sure, but that precise opening, that soft vulnerability, it's not coming back. Or maybe a club sign-up sheet was passed around, and you thought, I'll do it later, but later never came, or the sign-ups closed. That unique experience, tied to that specific time, is gone. This isn't to make you feel bad, but here's what it means. Every moment holds tiny chances. Some are small, some are big. The idea is to be present, to pay attention to the whispers of opportunity. Not every chance is meant to be taken, of course, but understanding that some moments are truly unique, that they offer a one-time path, can help us appreciate the present a little more. It can teach us to be a bit braver, a bit more aware, in the quiet, fleeting stream of our lives. Because once that moment flows past, it's truly gone, and that's why it matters. The friend who needs you too much. Have you ever had a friend who just seemed to need you for everything? Not just a listening ear sometimes, but for almost all their happiness, comfort, and strength. It's a strange feeling, At first, it might feel good to be so important, to know someone relies on you this much. It makes you feel valued, but here's the thing. After a while, that feeling can shift. That warmth can turn into a kind of pressure. You might start to feel like you're carrying a heavy, invisible weight. Every text, every call becomes another demand on your emotional energy. It's like being a constant power source, and you wonder, who's recharging your battery? Think about how friendships work. Long ago, thinkers like the ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle talked about friendship needing balance. He saw true friends as two people walking side by side, each strong on their own. Not one person constantly holding the other up, or always leaning. It's about mutual support. Imagine this: your friend sprains an ankle. You offer your arm for support, help them get around. That's being a good friend. But what if they keep using your arm as a crutch, even after their ankle is better? What if they stop trying to walk alone, always expecting you to be their only support? Soon, you both move slower, and your own arm isn't free. This dilemma is tough, because it comes from caring. You don't want to abandon someone you love, but where do you draw the line? When does helping actually stop a friend from learning to stand on their own? It makes you reflect on true strength for both of you. Sometimes, setting a boundary, even if it feels hard, is the truest act of friendship. It lets them find their own steady ground, and it lets you breathe. The test of loyalty no one passes. Have you ever felt caught between two things you care about deeply? Like, really deeply? It's a strange feeling, isn't it? This is about those moments, those impossible dilemmas, where loyalty itself becomes the problem. Not because you want to be disloyal, but because the situation forces your hand. You have to pick one, and by picking one, you automatically let the other down. It's a test of loyalty where, no matter what you do, someone or something you value gets hurt. Think about ancient tales. Generals had to choose between protecting their city or saving their own family. Kings had to decide if they'd be loyal to an old friend or to the laws of their land. Philosophers have pondered this for centuries. They ask, if you can't be loyal to everything you believe in, what does loyalty even mean? It shows us that loyalty isn't always a straightforward path. It's often a tangled mess of feelings and duties. Here's the thing. Imagine your two best friends. They're super close to you, but they just had a huge fight, and now they refuse to talk to each other. One of them invites you to a birthday party, but says, "Don't tell the other friend I invited you. And please don't invite them either." You want to be there for both of them. You're loyal to both. But how can you go to the party without feeling like you're choosing a side? How can you tell your one friend you can't invite the other without them feeling betrayed? There's no good answer. You're stuck. These aren't easy situations. They show us that sometimes life throws us questions with no perfect reply. It's not about failing a test. It's about understanding that some tests are designed to be impossible to pass without feeling a sense of loss. It makes you think about how complicated our connections really are, and how just wanting to be good isn't always enough to make everything okay. The whisper that spreads like fire. Have you ever felt a tiny worry, so small it barely whispers in your mind? It's not loud enough to be a shout, not clear enough to be a definite problem, but it's there. And then, slowly, almost without you noticing, that whisper starts to grow. It stretches, it expands, until it fills your thoughts, making everything else seem a little dimmer. This isn't just about secrets told between friends. It's about the feeling or idea that starts small within you and takes root. For a long time, people have known about these quiet beginnings. Think about how a big, important story can start with just one tiny idea, or how a huge change in the world once began with a single question asked by one person. Even ancient thinkers wondered about these quiet sparks that ignite bigger thoughts inside us. They knew that sometimes, the biggest struggles come from the smallest, most secret parts of our minds. Here's the thing. Imagine you're working on a big art project for school, something you're really proud of. Suddenly, a little whisper pops into your head. Is this really good enough? You try to ignore it, but then you see someone else's amazing artwork, and that whisper grows. It says, yours isn't as creative. What if everyone laughs? It's just a thought, but it starts to spread through your confidence, making you question everything. That tiny doubt about your art project started as a quiet whisper, but now it feels like a roaring fire, making you want to give up. Even though you know you love creating. It's these kinds of internal whispers that can lead us into dilemmas with no easy way out. They are not always about right or wrong. but about how a small seed of feeling or doubt can blossom into a giant, confusing question that leaves us feeling stuck. Acknowledging these quiet voices, even when they lead to difficult feelings, is part of understanding ourselves. It reminds us that sometimes the deepest puzzles begin with the softest sound. The line you can't cross back over. Have you ever made a choice and felt an instant shift, like a door closing behind you, leaving you in a new place? That feeling is what we call the point of no return. It's not about being stuck, it's about knowing some actions change things forever. The path ahead is different from the path you left. Think of a one-way street. Once you drive down it, you can't just turn around. You're committed to the new direction. This idea makes us think about how permanent some choices can be. Long ago, Roman general Julius Caesar stood by a small river, the Rubicon. His decision was huge: cross it with his army to start a war, or turn back. He chose to cross. His famous words, "The die is cast." This meant the decision was final. No changing it. He couldn't go back to just being a general. His choice changed history. That's why we say crossing the Rubicon for an irreversible decision. It happens in our lives, too. Imagine drawing for school. You use a pencil first, so you can erase mistakes. But then you pick up a permanent marker and draw a bold line. That line stays. You can't erase it. You build your design around it. That marker line is your point of no return for that part of your drawing. This isn't meant to scare us. Instead, it invites us to pause before big decisions. It teaches us every choice has weight. Every step leaves a trace. Sometimes, those traces reshape the path behind us. It's about appreciating the power we have to shape our present and our future. We always move forward, trying to fix what's beyond repair. Have you ever tried to fix something that just wouldn't mend? Maybe a favorite toy broken into too many pieces, or a picture you tried to redraw but made worse. There's deep sadness then, a feeling of fighting what's already set. This feeling touches a tough truth. Some things, once truly broken, can never be fully restored. You can glue pieces, smooth edges, but cracks remain. They tell a story. It's not about not caring or not trying. Sometimes, damage goes deeper than our efforts. And that's why it matters. Old stories and ancient thinkers spoke of acceptance, not giving up, but understanding what we can't change. This isn't new. It's part of being human. Sometimes, the wisest path means seeing an end, not forcing things back to life. Imagine your favorite glass mug, the one with the silly picture. One day, it slips, hits the floor, and shatters. You could spend hours gluing every shard, but even then, it wouldn't hold water the same. It wouldn't feel the same. Edges would be rough. It would be a ghost of what it was. That's a tough feeling, right? Like a friendship that drifts. You can try to bring it back, but if too much has changed, if too many moments passed, sometimes it just isn't the same. So, what do we do when something is truly beyond repair? It's not about walking away without thought. It's about quiet courage. Courage to accept some endings are real, to mourn what was lost, to learn from brokenness, then, slowly, turn gaze toward what can still be built, what new shapes can form from the dust of what couldn't be fixed. Find peace, even in sadness. The memory that haunts every day. Have you ever had a moment, a feeling, a single image, that just won't leave you alone? It's not always a bad memory. Sometimes it's something confusing, or a missed chance, or even just a question that keeps playing in your mind. This is about those kinds of memories, the ones that become a constant hum, a quiet shadow following you through every single day, shaping what you see and how you feel, even when you don't realize it. Think about how stories are told. Long ago, before books and the internet, people passed down history through what they remembered. But here's the thing, memory isn't a perfect recording. It's more like a story we tell ourselves over and over. And sometimes, one particular story, one powerful memory, can become like a loop in our minds. Ancient thinkers, like those in Greece, wondered how much our past really controls our present. They knew a strong memory could feel like a burden, or a lesson, something that colors everything else. Imagine you had a big test. You studied hard, but there was one question you just couldn't answer. You submitted it, and that one question, that one blank space, keeps popping into your head. Every time you open a textbook, every time a teacher asks a question, that unanswered moment flickers. It's not stopping your life, but it's asterisk there, asterisk. It's like a scientific experiment where your brain keeps replaying that moment, trying to find the answer. even if the test is long over. Your mind wants to solve it, but there's no solution to find anymore. So, how do we live with these echoes? These memories that whisper in the background? The trick isn't to fight them away. Sometimes, it's about acknowledging them, letting them be there, like a part of the landscape of your mind. We can wonder about them, feel their weight, and then gently turn back to the moment we're in now. They teach us something, these memories, about what matters, about the questions that stay with us, and that's why they matter. They remind us we're always changing, but also always connected to who we were and who we are becoming. The lie you keep living, think about this. Is there something you tell yourself every day that deep down you know isn't quite true? It's not about big, mean lies you tell others. This is about the stories we build for ourselves. Maybe it's pretending you don't care about that tryout when your stomach is doing flips, or saying you're fine when really you're not. This is the lie you keep living. Here's the thing. People have thought about this for a long, long time. Way back, even old Greek thinkers wondered why we sometimes fool ourselves. They saw that sometimes our minds try to protect us. It's easier to believe a comforting lie than to face a tough truth. Psychologists today call this self-deception. It's like a secret agreement you make with yourself to avoid pain or discomfort. And that's why it matters. Imagine you have a best friend and you both know things have changed. You used to be inseparable, but now they hang out with other people more. You keep telling yourself everything is okay, that nothing is different. You keep texting them, acting like it's all the same, even though your gut tells you it isn't. That's a lie. You keep living, not to be mean, but to hold on to something you value. You want to avoid the sadness of a changing friendship, but here's the problem. Living that lie, even a small one, can take a lot of energy. It's like holding your breath without even knowing it. It's hard to truly move forward or to heal if you're always pretending. Maybe the real strength isn't in keeping the lie alive, but in gently, slowly, letting it go. It's okay to feel the truth, even if it hurts a little. And that quiet honesty, in the end, can make you feel more real, more complete. When help becomes its own problem, have you ever tried to help someone, really wanted to make things better, but somehow it got worse? Or you meant well, but your actions ended up causing a new kind of trouble. It's a strange feeling, isn't it? Like you tripped over your own good intentions. Here's the thing. Sometimes, even the best intentions can lead to unexpected problems. We see something broken, or someone struggling, and our first thought is to fix it, to step in, but there's a delicate balance. Sometimes, our help doesn't actually solve the real problem. Instead, it can create a new one, or even make the original situation stick around longer. It's like trying to untangle a knot and accidentally pulling it tighter. This isn't a new idea. Wise people have talked about this for ages. Even back in ancient stories, they understood that even kindness needs wisdom. They saw that sometimes, allowing someone to figure things out for themselves, or letting a situation unfold, can be the truest form of support. It's about knowing when to lend a hand and when to step back. It's a deep kind of patience. Think about a favorite houseplant. You want it to grow big and strong, so you water it every single day. You mean well, right? You're giving it what it needs, water. But too much water can actually drown the roots. The plant turns yellow, it gets sick. Your help, in that case, becomes its own problem. It's the same with people. If we always do everything for someone, they might never learn how to do it for themselves. They might start to rely on that help so much that they can't stand on their own 2 feet. And that's why it matters. It teaches us that true help isn't always about action. Sometimes, it's about thoughtful watching, about giving space, about trusting in growth. It's about understanding that even love and care, without wisdom, can sometimes lead us into a tricky dilemma where the solution itself becomes the issue. A quiet, heavy truth, isn't it? The future you didn't choose. Have you ever stopped to think about how much of your life you actually choose? We pick our clothes, maybe our friends, what we eat for lunch. But what about the really big stuff? Sometimes, a huge part of our future just happens to us. It's a path laid out, not by our wishes, but by forces far beyond our control, a life we didn't pick. This idea isn't new. For thousands of years, people have looked up at the stars or felt the weight of world events and wondered about destiny. Ancient Greeks told stories of fates weaving threads of life, deciding what would happen long before anyone was born. Later, thinkers talked about how history or where you were born could set your course in ways you couldn't escape. It's about moments that change everything, not because you wanted them to, but because they simply arrived. Think about a sudden change in your family. Maybe a parent has to move for a new job, and suddenly, you're packing boxes, leaving your school, your friends, your whole familiar neighborhood behind. You didn't choose to move. You didn't pick the new town or the new school. Your future, at least for a while, was chosen for you. It can feel unfair, like a story being written where you're just a character, not the author. And that's the thing about a future you didn't choose. It can bring a feeling of sadness, even a quiet anger, because a part of your expected life is gone. But here's what I found. Even when the path itself isn't yours, the way you walk it, the daily steps you take, those choices are still yours. You can decide how to face the new, how to find beauty in unexpected places, and how to build new connections. It's a reminder that courage isn't just about facing dangers, but about finding strength when your world shifts without your permission. It's about finding your own quiet power within a story you didn't start, shaping it with your heart. The past that won't let go. Have you ever looked back at something that happened and wished you could just erase it, or felt the long shadow of an old mistake still reaching for you, even now? This is the dilemma of the past that simply won't let go. It's not just about remembering. It's about how certain moments, words, or choices become a part of us, shaping who we are and what we do, whether we want them to or not. Throughout history, people have wrestled with this heavy truth. Ancient storytellers often spoke of fate, or how the decisions of yesterday echo through tomorrow, sometimes for generations. Philosophers have pondered how we carry our past, like an invisible weight or a hidden map that guides our steps, even if we don't always understand its directions. Think about a time you might have said something hurtful without meaning to, or maybe kept a secret that grew too big to handle. Even if you apologized, even if time passed, that feeling, that memory, can cling to you, sometimes popping up when you least expect it. It's like a small scar on your skin from an old scrape. The wound healed, but the mark remains, a quiet reminder of what was. Or consider, a psychologist might tell you that our brains actually build pathways based on experiences. A big emotional event, especially a difficult one, can lay down a pathway that influences our thoughts and feelings long after. This isn't about blaming. It's just how our minds work to remember and react. So, the dilemma isn't just about what happened, but about living with what can't truly be undone. How do we move forward, grow, and find peace when a piece of the past seems stuck to our souls, weighing us down or guiding us in ways we didn't choose? It's a quiet challenge, a deep whisper, reminding us that some parts of our story, once written, become permanent lines etched into our being. And sometimes, all we can do is acknowledge them, learning to carry their truth with strength and a soft heart, understanding that even an unchangeable past can teach us how to build a better future, one gentle step at a time. The smallest choice, the biggest trouble. Have you ever thought how one tiny decision can change everything? We often think big dilemmas come from huge, obvious moments, but sometimes, a choice small as a whisper, almost invisible, ends up steering our story in a new direction. It could be a simple yes or no, a slight turn, or a moment of hesitation. Suddenly, you're in a new place, facing problems you never expected, all because of that one little thing you barely thought about. People have wondered about this for ages. There's an old idea, the butterfly effect. It's not about real butterflies causing storms, but it helps us see how everything connects. A tiny flap of a wing, a small change, could lead to larger weather patterns far away. It explains how a minor action can ripple out, causing huge results much later. It reminds us that even quiet moments hold surprising power. Think about your morning. Maybe you hit snooze just one extra time. That choice could make you miss your bus, making you late for school. Being late might mean you miss an announcement about a project partner. Suddenly, you're stuck with someone you didn't want, all because of those extra 5 minutes. Or you chose a different path to school. You might see something amazing, or troubling. One small path choice, a totally different day unfolds. So the biggest dilemmas in our lives don't always come from giant decisions. Sometimes, they grow from a simple yes or no we barely noticed. It makes you wonder, doesn't it, about the invisible threads connecting our smallest actions to life's big, complicated puzzles. It's a deep thought. Every moment, every quiet choice, holds a secret weight. These choices shape our paths, sometimes to beautiful new places, Sometimes to unexpected troubles we must navigate without a clear map. Seeing injustice and feeling stuck, seeing injustice and feeling stuck, have you ever seen something happen and your stomach just dropped? You know, that moment when you watch something happen and every part of you screams, that's not right. But then, a different feeling creeps in, cold and heavy. It's the moment you realize that even though you see the unfairness, you can't do anything. You're trapped. That's what we're talking about today. Seeing injustice and feeling completely stuck. This isn't a new feeling. For ages, people have wrestled with this heavy feeling. Think about old stories, even history. Someone often sees a cruel law, a person treated badly, or a wrong choice. They know it's wrong, but they might be too small, too weak, or simply lack the power to change it. It's not about not wanting to act. It's about the very real, very hard truth that sometimes you simply cannot . Imagine you're walking past the park and you see a group of older kids making fun of a younger kid, calling them names. Your heart races. You know it's wrong. You want to step in, tell them to stop. But then you look at them, they're bigger. There are more of them, and you're alone. A cold wave washes over you. You stand there, frozen, your mind screaming, but your feet won't move, and your voice won't come out. The injustice is right in front of you, clear as day, but a wall stands between what you want to do and what you can do. You witness wrong, but feel unable to change it. This feeling of helplessness, that dull ache, is a tough one. It reminds us the world isn't always fair. Sometimes, even when you know what's right, your hands are tied. It doesn't mean you don't care, or that you're a bad person. It just means you're human, facing a truly hard dilemma. And just recognizing that feeling, really seeing it for what it is, can be a quiet, powerful step in itself. The scapegoat in every story. Have you ever felt like everything went wrong, and suddenly, one person or one tiny thing took all the blame? It felt unfair, but all the frustration landed there. This is a powerful, often sad idea we call the scapegoat. It's when someone or something is chosen to carry the weight of a group's problems, mistakes, or failures. They become the easy answer for something that's usually much more complicated. Long ago, some ancient communities had a ritual. They would literally take a goat, confess all their sins and troubles over its head, and then send it out into the wilderness. The idea was that the goat would carry all their bad deeds away. This was a powerful act, a way to feel rid of their burdens. And so, the idea of the scapegoat was born. Here's the thing, we still do this. Think about a time a big school event, like a play or a sports game, didn't go as planned. Maybe the team lost, or the play hit a snag. Everyone feels disappointed. And sometimes, all that frustration gets aimed at one person, maybe the director, or the star player. Even if many things went wrong, it's easier to point at one culprit. That one person becomes the vessel for everyone else's difficult feelings. But what does this truly achieve? While it brings temporary relief to those blaming, it rarely fixes the root problem. It leaves the scapegoat carrying a heavy, unfair load. It also stops us from seeing the whole picture, all the tiny pieces that made the dilemma. It avoids the harder truth. Problems don't have one simple cause. Solutions aren't found by just casting blame aside. Instead, it asks us to look deeper, to understand the web of events, and to find the courage to face complex realities, even when there's no easy exit. The weight of a broken promise. Have you ever felt the quiet sting when someone lets you down? It's a special kind of ache, isn't it? We're talking about promises, those serious words we give to others, and sometimes even to ourselves. A promise is like a delicate thread, spun between two people. When it's made, it creates a connection, a belief that something will happen, that someone will be there. But what happens when that thread snaps? A broken promise isn't just about something not happening. It's about a loss of trust. It's about a crack in what you believed. Think about it. Since people first started living together, promises have been huge. In many old cultures, a person's word was as good as gold, or even more important. Breaking it could mean shame, or losing your place in the group. It wasn't just a small mistake. It chipped away at the very fabric of how people relied on each other. So, this idea that your word matters, it's really old. Here's the thing. A promise is like a foundation, like the strong base of a building. When you make a promise, you're building a little part of the future. You're saying, I will be there, or I will do this for you. And the person who hears it, they start to count on it. Imagine your best friend says they'll help you study for a big test, and you plan everything around that. But then, they don't show up. That isn't just missing a study session. It's a feeling that their word might not be strong anymore. It makes you feel alone, and maybe a little confused about where you stand. So when a promise breaks, it leaves more than just disappointment. It leaves a hollow space. It teaches us something important about how valuable our words are, and how careful we need to be with them. Because once trust is damaged, it takes a lot of time and effort to build it back up, piece by careful piece. It reminds us that our promises are powerful, and they carry a real weight. The unspoken rule that traps you have. You ever felt a quiet pull, a gentle push, telling you how to act, even when no one said a word? It's like a secret instruction manual for life. Everyone else got a copy, but you never read it. Here's the thing. Some of the strongest rules aren't written down anywhere. They live in the air between us, in our glances, in the pauses before we speak. These are the unspoken rules. They guide our steps, shape our thoughts, and sometimes they trap us. People have lived in groups for centuries. To get along, we developed ways of being, not laws from a king or textbook rules, but just common understandings. Philosophers wondered about this long ago. They saw how humans naturally formed these patterns. It's the invisible glue of societies. But here's the problem. Because they're invisible, we rarely question them. We just follow. Think about a crowded bus or an elevator. You likely don't stare directly at strangers, right? You keep your voice low. You give people space, even when packed in. No one taught you elevator etiquette 101. You just know. If you broke that rule singing loudly or staring, you'd feel a strange, uncomfortable energy. It's not a crime, but it feels wrong. That feeling, that quiet judgment you imagine, is the trap. It keeps you performing for an audience you didn't know was there, and that's why it matters. These silent agreements make our world orderly, but they also make us wonder how much of who we are and what we do is truly our choice. How much is just us moving through an invisible maze, following rules we never chose? It's a quiet thought, one that can make you see your actions and the world in a whole new, deeper light. When forgiving is impossible, have you ever wondered if there are some hurts so deep they leave a mark that can never truly fade? We often hear about the power of forgiveness, how it sets you free and is good for you. That's often true, but sometimes it feels like an impossible climb. It's not about being stubborn or wanting to hold on to anger. It's about a wound that cut to your core, changing you inside. Think about it. If a trusted friend breaks an important promise, or says something truly hurtful that spreads, you might feel a deep crack. Even if they say sorry and mean it, the trust is gone. The picture you had of them shatters. You can pick up the pieces, even glue them back together, but those cracks will always be there. It's not the same. For hundreds of years, people have wrestled with this. Even wise thinkers in ancient times, like philosophers in Greece or Rome, knew some wrongs felt too big, too unfair. They understood that justice often came first. Sometimes, justice meant acknowledging actions created a tear that couldn't be mended. It's an old idea that some hurts are just that deep. It's not that we shouldn't forgive, but what if our hearts just can't? Imagine a scientist trying to reverse a chemical reaction that's happened. Once two things mix and create something new, you can't always unmix them perfectly. The original ingredients are changed forever. That's a bit like a deeply broken trust or a profound betrayal. So, here's what I found. Sometimes, the journey to peace isn't about forcing forgiveness where it doesn't fit. Instead, it might be about accepting the wound, understanding its truth, and choosing to protect your own heart moving forward. It's about acknowledging that some stories don't end with a simple all better, and that's a difficult but real part of being human. When forgetting is worst, have you ever wished you could just erase something from your mind? A moment of embarrassment, a harsh word, a big mistake. It feels like forgetting would bring relief, a fresh start. But here's the thing. Sometimes, forgetting is not a blessing. Sometimes, it's a quiet, slow kind of danger. Imagine a world where everyone forgot their history. Not just dates and names, but the reasons people fought for freedom. The pain of injustice. The lessons learned from terrible conflicts. If we forgot all that, we'd likely make the same mistakes again. It's like the old saying, those who don't remember the past are bound to repeat it. Forgetting isn't just losing information, it's losing wisdom, losing the very ground we stand on. Think about a small, everyday example. Maybe you said something thoughtless to a friend, and it truly upset them. It wasn't on purpose, but the words were out there. Your brain might try to push that memory away because it feels bad, but if you truly forget it, if you never sit with the discomfort of what happened, how will you learn to be more careful with your words next time? How will you grow in empathy? That memory, even with its pang, is a teacher. It helps you understand others. Or, picture it like this. A scientist finds a cure for a rare illness, but the lab notes get lost, and the scientist forgets the precise steps. All that knowledge, all that hope, simply vanishes. Forgetting can mean losing not just a painful past, but also precious lessons, hard-won solutions, the tools we need to move forward. So, sometimes the heaviest memories are the ones we must carry, not to suffer, but to learn, to protect, to become better. It's a quiet burden, yes, but also a quiet power. Remembering, even the parts that ache, can be the truest path to a future where we don't trip on the same old rocks. The shadow of constant doubt. Have you ever felt that little voice, deep inside, asking what if, or am I really sure? That's the shadow of constant doubt. It's not just a quick question that pops into your head and leaves. Instead, it's a feeling that stays, like a cloud that won't quite move away, making everything feel a bit hazy. This kind of doubt makes decisions feel heavy, and even when you pick a path, a part of you still wonders about all the other choices you didn't make. It's when you can't truly find a yes or a no that feels completely right. Thinkers throughout history have grappled with this very idea. A long time ago, a Greek philosopher named Socrates famously said he knew only one thing, that he knew nothing at all. He questioned absolutely everything. Later, another deep thinker, Descartes, wondered if anything he saw or felt was even real, asking if he might just be dreaming it all. These minds used doubt to try and find deeper truths. But for us, sometimes, that constant questioning can feel really overwhelming. It makes finding a solid answer seem impossible. Here's an everyday example. Imagine you're picking a movie to watch with your friends. One friend wants action, another loves comedy, and you kind of like both. You scroll and scroll, seeing all the options. You finally pick one, but even as the movie starts, a tiny part of you thinks, did I make the right call? Maybe the other one would have been better. That small whisper of what if stays with you. It's not a huge problem, but it shows how doubt can stick around even for small things. This feeling of not knowing for sure, this constant doubt, is a part of being human. It reminds us that life isn't always black and white, and many things have no single, easy answer. It can be a heavy feeling, but here's the thing. It also pushes us to think deeper, to consider all sides of an issue. It helps us learn patience with uncertainty, and maybe, just maybe, it teaches us that living with some doubt is part of the journey. It's okay not to have all the answers. Wishing for a different ending. Have you ever wished a moment could rewind, or just play out differently? You made a choice, and later, you kept thinking, what if? This feeling, this deep longing for what might have been, is a big part of what makes tough dilemmas so hard. We look at the path we took, and the path we didn't. Sometimes, we just ache for a redo. It's about feeling the weight of a choice, even when there was no good choice, no easy exit. Here's the thing, people have felt this way for a very long time. Even ancient thinkers in old Greece wondered about it. They talked about how each choice closes off other possible paths. They understood regret isn't always about doing something wrong. Sometimes, it's about the painful fact you can't have two things you desperately want. Or worse, you can't escape a bad situation without someone getting hurt. This sense of what could have been is built right into being human. Think about it like this. Imagine you pick one movie to watch tonight, then your friend tells you the other was incredible, and you feel sad you missed it. You can't watch both. Or, maybe you choose between helping one friend or another, both needing you now. You pick one, and you can't help feeling a pang for the friend you couldn't be there for. That feeling, that quiet, if only, that's what wishing for a different ending feels like. So, here's what I found. Wishing things had turned out another way doesn't mean we messed up. It just means we care deeply. We felt the impact of a hard situation. It helps us remember some choices are incredibly tough. It's okay to feel the sadness or the longing for what could not be. We learn to live with the paths we take, even the ones we wish were different. The price of uncomfortable peace. Have you ever felt a quiet that wasn't truly peaceful? It's a strange feeling, isn't it? Everything around you seems calm, but deep down, a part of you knows something isn't right. That feeling is what we call uncomfortable peace. It means things are still and quiet on the outside, but there's a hidden cost. It's the calm you get when you choose to avoid a tough conversation or ignore a big problem, hoping it just disappears. That quiet can feel like relief for a little while, but often it leaves a heavy, uneasy feeling in your heart, a silent burden. Here's the thing, throughout history, people have faced these choices. Sometimes, leaders and everyday people decided to keep things quiet. They wanted to prevent big arguments. Maybe they let an unfair rule continue, or looked away from someone's pain, just so things would appear calm on the surface. But that outward calm wasn't real peace. It was more like a silence holding problems trapped. These problems would only grow bigger in the dark. Long ago, wise thinkers wondered if it was truly living to ignore hard parts of life. They said we needed to look closely at things, even if what we found was difficult. Think about your own life, maybe with friends. Let's say someone makes a joke that isn't kind to another friend. Everyone else gets quiet, no one speaks up, and the group stays peaceful. But the friend who was hurt feels alone and sad, and everyone else feels a little uneasy about what happened. That quiet moment isn't truly peaceful. It's a stillness from discomfort, a peace that feels heavy and wrong because it's not honest. So, is every quiet moment truly peace? Maybe not. Real peace is often harder to reach. It asks us to be brave enough to face what feels uncomfortable. Perhaps true peace comes from being honest, even when it's tough, and from working to fix what's broken, instead of just hiding it away. It's a deeper, truer kind of calm that starts inside us, not just something seen on the outside. The fight you can't win, can't lose. Have you ever felt trapped in a situation where no matter what you choose, it feels wrong, or where a win doesn't bring joy, and a loss isn't truly sad? This is the heart of a fight you can't fully win and can't really lose. It's not about fists or battlefields. It's about a deep, quiet struggle, often happening inside us. Two powerful ideas or feelings pull you in opposite directions, and neither can truly conquer the other without a cost. Thinkers through history have noticed this strange balance. Ancient Greek philosophers, like Heraclitus, understood the world as a constant push and pull of opposites. He believed that everything exists because of this tension, hot and cold, light and dark, war and peace. It's not about one completely wiping out the other, but about their dance together, creating life and meaning. The fight itself is what matters, not a final score. Here's an example you might know. Imagine you really want to hang out with your friends, but your pet is sick and needs your care. You love your friends, and you love your pet. If you go with your friends, you win a fun night, but you might feel guilty about leaving your pet. That win has a shadow. If you stay home with your pet, you win by taking care of them, but you lose the fun with your friends, maybe feeling a little lonely. Neither choice feels like a total victory or a complete defeat. It's a constant tug-of-war in your heart. So, here's the thing. Some of life's deepest moments are not about finding a way to win these battles. It's about learning to sit with the tension, to understand that some struggles are just part of being human. It's about recognizing that growth often happens in that uncertain space, in the quiet acceptance that sometimes the fight itself is the only answer. We learn not to conquer, but to understand the profound strength in simply enduring, in holding both sides of the truth within us. The invisible chains that hold you. Have you ever felt a quiet pull, a strange kind of limit, even when nothing is physically stopping you? It's like an invisible rope, not one you can see or touch, but you know it's there. It holds you back, or guides you, sometimes without you even realizing. These are the invisible chains. They don't clank, they don't shine, but they can be just as strong as iron bars. For thousands of years, people have thought about this feeling. Ancient Greek thinkers, for example, talked about how our own minds and habits could keep us from being truly free, even if we weren't in prison. They understood that freedom wasn't just about open doors. It was about what happened inside us. Sometimes, these chains are just things we've learned, ways we've always done things. Maybe it's the fear of speaking up in class, even when you know the answer, or always checking your phone the moment you wake up, even if you want to be more present. These aren't bad things, but they become patterns, paths we follow automatically. Here's an example that might make sense. Imagine a young puppy. When it's small, it's tied to a short leash in the yard. It tries to run, but the leash stops it. Over time, it learns its boundaries. Even when the puppy grows into a big, strong dog, if that leash is removed, it might still only walk to the edge of where the leash used to reach. It believes the boundary is still there, even though it's gone. That old memory, that old limit, has become an invisible chain. We are a lot like that dog. We grow up with ideas, with beliefs about ourselves, or about what we're capable of. Maybe someone once told you that you're not artistic or not good at math, and you just accepted it. Years later, even if you've grown and changed, that old label can still stop you from trying a drawing class or tackling a challenging puzzle. It's not a real limit anymore. It's a thought, a quiet whisper, that acts like an unseen barrier in your mind. So, here's the thing. These invisible chains aren't always bad. Some keep us safe, some help us understand the world, but others can quietly stop us from exploring, from taking chances, from becoming the unique person you are meant to be. Makes you wonder, how many of your daily choices are truly yours, and how many are guided by these hidden ties you might not even realize are there? It's a question worth feeling. Trapped between two different worlds, have you ever felt pulled in two directions at once? Like part of you belongs in one place, but another part deeply wants something else. This deep tug-of-war inside is what we call being trapped between two different worlds. Your heart and mind are torn. You don't know which path to choose because both feel important, or both are expected. Here's the thing. Your family might have special traditions, ways of doing things for generations. You love your family and respect their history, but then you go to school, or hang out with friends, and new ideas connect with you. Suddenly, you're trying to honor both your family and yourself. That's a powerful, confusing feeling. Even ancient Greek philosophers understood this. They knew a good life often meant balancing duties or desires. The world can ask you to pick between things that both seem right, but in different ways. Think of a plant needing both sunlight and water. What if it could only get one? Or if one side was always bright, the other in shadow? It would struggle to grow. For us, it's about who we are. Maybe you're an artist, but your parents hope you'll choose science. Both are good paths, but they need different parts of you. You might feel a heavy weight, trying to live two versions of your life. There's no easy answer here. These dilemmas show life isn't always about picking a clear right or wrong. Sometimes, it's about understanding where these two worlds meet inside you. It's about finding a way to carry parts of both forward, even if it feels messy. Acknowledge the struggle. Learn to be okay with that unresolved feeling. You are not alone in this. The unfairness of how life works. Have you ever watched something happen and felt a quiet, knotty twist in your stomach? Like when someone tries their absolute hardest, giving everything they have, but still falls short. Or when another person seems to just stumble into success without much effort at all. That deep, sinking feeling, that's the sting of unfairness. It's that moment when your heart whispers, this just isn't right. Life often feels like it should follow a clear rulebook. Good actions get good rewards. Hard work always pays off. But here's the thing about our world. It doesn't always follow those neat rules. Sometimes, good, kind people face incredibly tough times. Not because they did anything wrong, but just because that's how things played out. And sometimes, those who don't seem to care much at all seem to have everything fall into place. It's a hard truth to accept. People have grappled with this feeling for thousands of years. Long before us, ancient thinkers looked up at the stars and down at their lives, trying to make sense of suffering that felt undeserved. They wondered why some lives seemed blessed with ease, while others were burdened with constant struggle. They searched for answers in fate, or in the will of unseen forces, hoping to find a pattern, a reason for why things felt so uneven. It's a question that echoes across history, touching every human heart. Think about two students who both dream of getting into a special art program. One student has a natural talent, picking up a pencil and drawing masterpieces almost effortlessly. The other loves art just as much, practices every single day, maybe even more, but their hands just don't create with the same natural ease. Both have passion, both work hard, but the outcome might be very different, not because of effort, but because of something they can't control. This truth, about how life can be so uneven, can feel heavy. It can make you question the whole idea of fair, but knowing this isn't about giving up or becoming bitter. It's about recognizing that life isn't always a straight line. It reminds us that while we can't control every twist and turn, we can choose our own responses. We can choose kindness, understanding, and to offer support, because we know how much a little help can mean when the path feels steep and unfair. The circle of blame that never ends. Have you ever been in a situation where something went wrong and everyone started pointing fingers? It's like a game no one wins, where blame gets passed around and around, but the problem itself never gets fixed. This is what we call the circle of blame. It's a loop where people focus on who caused the issue, instead of how to make things better. And because everyone is busy blaming, no one takes action, so the blame just keeps spinning. This idea isn't new. For a long time, people have struggled with blame. Think about ancient stories, where entire towns might blame a single person for bad luck, or even the gods for harsh weather. The Roman philosopher Seneca, thousands of years ago, talked about how easy it is to blame others, and how much harder it is to look at our own part in things. It's like humans are wired to find a culprit, a single reason for every problem, even when the truth is much messier. Imagine you're doing a group project for school. The deadline is tomorrow, and it's a mess. Your part is good, but someone else's section is missing, and another person didn't proofread their work. So, you blame the missing section person. They blame the proofreader for not catching their mistake earlier. The proofreader blames you for not reminding them. Soon, everyone is upset, and the project still isn't done. The blame goes around, but the actual work doesn't get done. That's the circle that it can feel heavy, stuck in that loop. But here's the thing. Sometimes, the only way to stop the circle is for someone to choose to step out of it. Not to take all the blame, but to simply say, okay, this happened. What can I do now to help? It's a quiet choice, a moment of courage that can break the endless spin. It reminds us that sometimes, moving forward matters more than proving who was right or wrong. The hardest goodbye you can't say. Have you ever had to say goodbye? Really say it, with words? Most of the time, we do. We wave to a friend, or hug family leaving town. But here's the thing. Some goodbyes are different. They don't have a clear moment. You can't actually say them. This dilemma is about those quiet goodbyes. It's when something important in your life just fades away, and there's no specific event to mark the end. No farewell for a friendship that slowly drifted apart without a fight. Just became less. No final hug for a version of yourself you've grown out of. People have felt this kind of loss for ages. Ancient thinkers knew that life is always changing, and some things just quietly disappear. It's not about losing someone, but about the gentle fading of things that once mattered. This creates a soft sadness, hard to explain. Think about a favorite old toy. You loved it when little. One day, you just stopped playing. You outgrew it. It just ended. You never formally said goodbye to that part of your life. So, what do we do with goodbyes we can't say? Maybe we don't need to speak them aloud. Acknowledging that quiet ending, that gentle shift, might be enough. It's about understanding that change is a part of life. Not every ending gets a neat, clear final word. Sometimes, the hardest goodbyes are the ones we just feel, deep inside, as new things begin. The hello that changes everything bad. What if a single hello could change the whole direction of your day, or even your life? We're talking about those quiet, unexpected moments, those simple greetings that catch you right when you need them most. It's the idea that a small, kind connection can become a strong lifeline when you feel totally lost, like you're drifting alone. This isn't about solving every big problem, but about stopping a downward slide. Think about how humans have always deeply needed each other. For thousands of years, wise storytellers shared tales where a simple act of kindness, a moment of recognition, stopped someone from going down a dark path. They knew we aren't meant to face our hardest moments alone. They understood that just knowing someone sees you can shift everything. It's like a tiny pebble dropped into a calm pond. A small, genuine greeting sends out waves of unexpected hope. Imagine you're having one of those truly difficult days where everything feels heavy. Maybe you're upset about something at school, or feeling left out. You walk through the halls, head down, wishing you could disappear. You're almost at your locker, ready to just shut down. Then, out of nowhere, a classmate you don't talk too much looks up, catches your eye, and says, "Hey, how are you doing today? You seem a little quiet." That's it. Just a simple question, an honest hello. But here's the thing. That small moment, that brief human sound, can break through the dark fog. It's a powerful reminder that you're seen, not invisible, and that someone cares enough to ask. It doesn't magically solve all your problems, no, but it can stop bad feelings from spiraling worse. It's like a little spark that keeps a tiny flame of hope burning inside you. This shows us that even when things feel really tough, our shared humanity, just a simple greeting, holds a quiet, powerful light. And that's why it matters, because sometimes the smallest spark of human kindness can make the biggest difference of all. Lost and found, but still lost inside. Have you ever searched everywhere for something really important to you? Maybe it was your favorite hoodie or a special notebook. Your heart beats faster and your stomach feels a bit empty. And then, suddenly, there it is, right where you least expected it, or maybe where you already looked 5 times. You feel a huge wave of relief. But here's the thing, sometimes, even after you find what was lost, a part of that feeling of being lost, or the panic you felt, stays with you. It's like the object is back, but you are still a little bit changed by the search. People have thought about this for a long time. Ancient thinkers wondered about how our inside feelings are different from the outside world. They knew that things happening around us can leave deep marks on our spirit, our inner self. Even when the problem outside is fixed, it reminds us that our true self isn't just about what we can touch or see. It's also about our memories, our feelings, and how our minds react to life's puzzles. Think about a time you worked super hard on a drawing or a story, and it felt truly special. Then, you couldn't find it. You looked everywhere, under the bed, in your backpack, checking old folders. For a few minutes, or maybe longer, you felt that heavy dread, that deep worry that it was gone forever. Maybe you even imagined it, ripped or thrown away. But then, you saw it. Maybe it slipped behind your desk, perfectly fine. You felt so happy. Yet, for weeks after, every time you put that drawing down, you'd feel a small flicker of that fear again. The drawing was found, but the feeling of nearly losing it, and the panic that came with it, had become a quiet part of you. This kind of experience tells us something important about ourselves. Our journeys, even the small ones, shape us. They don't just disappear, they weave into who we are, changing how we think about things, how we feel, and how we act. And that's why it matters. It's a part of being human, to feel these things, and to grow from every search, even when what was lost is finally found. The choice to stay or to run away. Have you ever felt caught, like 2 invisible forces are pulling you in opposite directions? One whispers, "Stay put, face it," and the other screams, "Run, get away now." This feeling is a core part of many dilemmas. It's about facing something really hard, or trying to escape it completely. It's a deeply human experience, this urge to either stand our ground or to flee from pain or fear. Sometimes, staying means enduring something uncomfortable, but potentially growing. Other times, running feels like the only way to protect your heart or mind. Think about stories from long ago, or even just our own instincts. Early humans, when faced with a growling beast, had to make this choice in a split second: fight for their lives, or run as fast as they could. This fight or flight response is still inside us, but now it's often about emotional challenges, not just physical danger. Philosophers have wondered for ages, is there more courage in enduring a tough situation, or in knowing when to walk away for your own well-being? There's no easy answer. Imagine you're part of a group project at school, and things are really not going well. Your teammates aren't pulling their weight. Do you stay, try to fix things, and risk more frustration? Or do you try to get moved, effectively running from the problem? Neither choice feels easy. Or think about a small plant. If it's in a dark corner, it either strains its leaves towards a distant light, staying put, or its roots might grow outwards, searching for a better patch of soil. Both options come with their own effort and risk. These moments of choice are not about right or wrong, not always. They are about how we navigate our feelings, our fears, and our hopes. Sometimes, the bravest thing is to stay and face the storm. Other times, true strength lies in knowing when to step back, to find a new path, to protect your inner peace. What matters is the quiet honesty with ourselves. As we try to understand what each path truly asks of us, we carry the weight of both options, and learning to sit with that uncertainty is a part of growing up. The end that never seems to come, the end that never seems to come, Have you ever felt stuck in a situation that just keeps playing on and on, like a movie scene repeating, but you're living it? It's this strange idea. Some problems, some dilemmas, don't have a final stop sign. They just keep going, asking us to choose or deal with them, over and over. Here's the thing, we expect every story to have an end, a happily ever after, or a game over. But life isn't always like that. Some challenges feel like a treadmill. You move, you put in effort, but the scenery is the same. The journey never finishes. It's a loop. Think about old myths and stories that talk about cycles, like seasons changing, or the moon fading and returning. Ancient Greeks, for instance, saw history as repeating. They believed some things were just part of an endless pattern. It wasn't about being trapped, but understanding a deeper rhythm. Here's a relatable example. Imagine you and a friend keep having the same argument. You talk it out, think it's over, but then it pops up again. It's the same basic issue, just in a new way. It feels like no real winning or losing, just a continuous dance. Or consider ourselves constantly replacing themselves. No final end to you, just continuous renewal. So, when a dilemma won't end, what do we do? Maybe the point isn't to find an exit. Maybe it's how we live within the cycle. It's about finding meaning, or peace, in ongoing things. It's about accepting some paths have no finish line. That's okay. We learn to walk them, one step at a time, finding strength in the journey, even when it feels unending. The beginning you really dread. Have you ever had that feeling deep down? A heavy knot in your stomach, when you just something difficult is coming. It's like standing at a crossroads, but every single road leads somewhere you don't want to go. No turning back, no hidden path. Here's the thing. Some choices in life aren't about picking good over bad, but bad over worse, or even just bad over equally bad. That feeling of dread, that's the beginning we're talking about. Long ago, even ancient thinkers, like the Greek philosophers, thought about these kinds of situations. They called them tragic choices sometimes. Not just sad, but deeply, truly hard, because no matter what you do, someone or something will suffer. It's about those moments when freedom feels like a heavy weight, because your choice isn't really a choice at all. It's an unavoidable push into a tough outcome. Think about it this way. Imagine two of your closest friends are fighting, and they both want you to pick their side. You know if you pick one, you'll hurt the other. But if you try to stay neutral, you might lose both. It's a no-win situation, a real dilemma where every option brings pain. You have to make a move, but every move costs something important. And that's why it matters. These moments feel like a beginning, but a beginning you truly dread. These dilemmas, they teach us something profound about what it means to be human. They remind us that not every problem has a neat solution, and sometimes, courage isn't about winning, but about enduring the impossible choice itself. It's okay to feel the weight of these moments, to sit with the deep sorrow of knowing there's no easy escape, because in facing them, we learn about strength, and about the quiet, sometimes painful, depths of our own hearts. The truth that breaks many hearts. Have you ever wished with all your might that something simply wasn't true, that a hard fact could just disappear? Here's the thing about some truths. They don't care how much we wish them to be different. They just are asterisk. These truths settle deep in your chest, heavy and real, even when your heart aches. They're not always big world-changing secrets. Often, they are quiet, unchangeable facts about life, about people, about ourselves. Facing them can feel like a quiet breaking inside. People have wrestled with these truths for thousands of years. Old thinkers, like the Stoics, tried to understand suffering. They didn't say ignore pain. Instead, they understood some things are beyond our control. Wind blows, seasons change, people make their own choices. These are facts. Accepting them, even the painful ones, was their path to peace. It's not about giving up, but understanding what can't be changed. Think about a favorite old tree in your neighborhood. Maybe you climbed it, or it gave cool shade. One day, you notice it's getting old. Leaves less green, branches fragile. You might wish it stayed strong forever. You might feel sad, thinking about it one day falling. But that tree, like all living things, follows a natural path. You can care for it, appreciate it, but you can't stop time. That truth, that beautiful things also fade, can be heartbreaking. So, here's what I found. Some truths are like the sunrise. You can close your eyes and pretend it's night, but the sun still rises, and when you open your eyes, you see it. These heartbreaking truths don't mean life is cruel, but that it's real, in all its forms. It teaches us to cherish what we have, and to find quiet strength in accepting what we cannot change. It's okay to feel sad about these truths. Then, we learn to breathe, to understand, and to carry that knowledge gently forward. The lie that saves people from pain. Have you ever wondered if telling the complete truth is always the best way? Sometimes, the world is tough, and a raw truth can feel like holding a sharp rock. What if a gentle untruth could protect someone you care about from really deep pain? Here's the thing. People have used this kind of gentle trick for a very long time. Not to hurt, but to help or protect. Think about this. Long ago, people told stories about heroes and about gods. These weren't just for fun. They helped people understand a scary world. If someone they loved disappeared, a comforting story could give a little peace. The real, harsh truth would only bring sadness. This wasn't to trick anyone. It was about choosing kindness when the truth was too hard. Here's an example you might know. Imagine a family's old dog. It's a true part of their family. One day, it passes away quietly in its sleep. For the youngest child, who loved that dog so much, hearing the truth that their friend is gone forever could be too painful. So, a parent might gently say, "Barnaby went to a special farm. He can run and play there all day with other dogs." This isn't a lie to trick them forever. It's a temporary shield. It gives the child time to understand and get used to it, to be said slowly, not to face a sudden, crushing loss. It's like a moment of gentle kindness. This choice, this gentle untruth, is a heavy one. It makes us think about the line, what is true, and what is kind. It reminds us that protecting a heart from sudden, shattering pain is a deep act of love, even if it means bending the truth a little. It makes us think about empathy, and how we choose to care for each other in life's hardest times. Finding your voice, losing your crew. Have you ever found yourself changing, really changing, in a way that felt important and true to you? This feeling is about finding your own voice, your own path. But here's the thing. Sometimes, when you start speaking with your own voice, the people who were always with you, your crew, might not recognize it anymore. This is a deep dilemma with no easy answer, a real test of what you value more, comfort or truth. Do you stay quiet to keep everyone happy, or do you speak your truth, even if it means some people drift away? For a long time, fitting in was the main thing. People lived by the rules of their tribe or town. Being different could be risky, but then, some brave souls started to wonder if there was another way. Way, even if it meant standing alone. Think of it like this. Imagine you and your friends have always loved playing the same video game together. You spend hours laughing, building strategies, and sharing victories. It feels good, safe, but then you discover a new passion. Maybe it's coding, or painting, or getting really into astronomy. It truly lights you up. You start spending more time on this new thing, reading books, practicing, creating. Your friends still want to play the game, but your heart isn't fully in it anymore. You're changing. You're finding your unique rhythm, your own song, and that's why it matters. Maybe your friends don't quite get your new interest. They might feel a little left behind, or you might start to feel like you don't fit in with them as easily. The gap grows. You're becoming more authentically you, but your crew, the people you always counted on, might start to feel distant. It's a quiet kind of sadness, realizing that real growth, sometimes means things have to change. You gain something incredibly precious, your authentic self, but you might also lose the comfort of familiar paths and faces. It reminds us that being true to ourselves is one of the hardest, yet most beautiful, journeys we can take, even when it means walking a bit alone for a while. Staying silent, losing who you are. Have you ever felt a strong urge to say something, but swallowed the words instead? Maybe in class, or with friends, when something just didn't feel right. It's a common feeling, this moment of holding back. But here's the thing. When we consistently choose silence over speaking our truth, something subtle, yet powerful, starts to shift inside us. We begin to lose little pieces of who we are. Think about your unique beliefs, your deep feelings, your true opinions. They are like the colors that make up your personal picture. When you keep these colors hidden, when you don't let them show, they don't just vanish, but slowly, over time, they can fade. You might even begin to forget what your true colors actually look like. For centuries, thinkers have explored how speaking your truth, or even just acknowledging it inside, shapes who you are. It's about integrity, a quiet agreement with yourself to stay honest. This quiet act of staying silent, while it might seem safe in the moment, can slowly chip away at the edges of who you are. It can make you feel disconnected from your own thoughts, your own heart. It's almost like dimming a light inside yourself. When you dim your light, the The world doesn't get to see you fully, and more importantly, you don't get to experience yourself fully. So, holding on to your voice, letting your truths be heard, even if it's just a whisper in your own mind, is essential. It helps you stay connected to the unique and valuable person you truly are. Your voice is a part of your soul, a part of your deepest identity, and it deserves to be present. The world's weight on your shoulders. Have you ever felt a pressure, like something really big was leaning on you? Not a physical push, but an invisible kind of weight that sits deep inside. This feeling, people sometimes call it the world's weight on your shoulders. It's not a real backpack, of course. It's about feeling huge responsibility, or worry about big problems that seem too much to handle. Problems that have no clear answer. You just feel them. Think about old stories, like the Greek myth of Atlas. He was a giant who had to hold up the entire sky forever. It wasn't just heavy rocks, it was the whole world resting on him. That's a myth, but the feeling it describes, that crushing burden, is real. People have felt this for ages. Here's the thing, you often feel this weight when there's no easy way out. When you see a problem and know it's tough, or when two choices both feel wrong, that's when the weight gets heavier. Imagine you're with friends, and someone starts saying unkind things about another student. You hear it, you feel a knot in your stomach. You want to speak up, because it feels wrong, but you also worry what your friends might say to you. That small moment, that inner struggle, is a tiny version of the world's weight. It's your world, and the choice feels huge. So here's what happened for many. They learned it's okay to feel that weight. It means you care. It means you're noticing things. But here's the problem. Nobody can carry the whole world alone. Sometimes, just understanding the dilemma, just realizing how heavy it feels, is the first step. It lets you know you're not alone, and facing big feelings helps you grow strong. Stuck with no good options left. Have you ever felt a knot in your stomach because you had to make a choice, but every single option seemed to lead to sadness or trouble? Not just a hard choice, but one where there was no clear good path, no easy way out. This is what it means to be truly stuck with no good options left. It's when you're caught between a rock and a hard place, and both places feel equally painful. For centuries, people have wrestled with these kinds of dilemmas. Ancient thinkers, like the Greek philosophers, often explored stories where heroes faced situations with only terrible outcomes. They understood that sometimes life puts us in a corner, asking us to pick between two things we don't want, or two actions that will both cause pain. It's not about finding the best solution, it's about navigating the least harmful one, or sometimes, just accepting that harm is unavoidable. Imagine your best friend tells you a big secret. It's something that, if it came out, would really hurt someone else, maybe even cause serious trouble for them. Your friend trusts you completely, asking you to promise never to tell. So, do you keep their secret, knowing it might harm an innocent person? Or do you tell, breaking your friend's trust, possibly ending your friendship, but maybe doing what feels right for the other person? Both paths feel wrong. Both paths carry a heavy cost. You're not trying to choose between good and bad, but between bad and worse, or just two different kinds of bad. When you face moments like this, it's a heavy feeling. It reminds us that life isn't always fair or simple. Sometimes, the deepest wisdom comes not from finding a perfect answer, but from understanding and enduring the choices that have no good answer at all. It's okay to feel that struggle, to sit with the sadness of those impossible decisions. They teach us about our own strength, even when it feels like we have none. The path, that's only thorns voiceover. Have you ever faced a choice where every option felt truly awful? No matter what you picked, you just knew it would lead to pain or hurt. This is the path that's only thorns. It's not about finding a best option, because there isn't one. It's about a path where every step forward will prick and sting. You're stuck between two difficult things, with no easy way to escape the hurt. It's like being caught, where every exit leads only to more challenges. For thousands of years, people have wrestled with these impossible choices. Ancient thinkers understood life isn't always good versus evil. Sometimes, it's just hard versus harder. This deeply human problem has always existed. Think about this. Your pet is very sick. The vet gives you two choices. One is an expensive medicine that might not work and could make your pet suffer more. The other is to say goodbye, which is heartbreaking, ending their pain quickly. Both options are agonizing. There's no good choice. Both are filled with sorrow. You just have to pick the one that feels like the least painful kind of bad dot, and that's the truth about these thorny paths. They teach us courage isn't about choosing wisely, it's about choosing it all, even when it aches. It means accepting some pain is unavoidable. Facing it head-on with a heavy heart is sometimes the only way through. It's okay to feel the sadness or fear. Sometimes, walking through the thorns makes us stronger, even if scars remain. The high cost of staying quiet. Have you ever felt words stuck inside you, wanting to get out? Maybe in class, or with a friend. That pressure behind your lips is a common feeling. But here's the thing. Sometimes, the silence we choose, or the silence we let happen, can carry a much heavier price than we realize. It's not just about what you say, but what you don't say. Think about moments in history when people saw unfairness but stayed quiet. If no one spoke up, those wrongs often just kept going. It's like a quiet agreement, even if you don't mean it to be. Many thinkers believe ideas need to be shared to bump into each other so truth can emerge. When we stay silent, we might be holding back part of that truth. Something needed. Imagine a small disagreement between friends. One feels hurt but stays quiet. The other friend doesn't even know there's a problem, so the hurt grows, like a tiny crack in a window. If you don't talk about it, that crack can spread until the whole window shatters. That's what happens when important feelings or ideas are hidden. They don't disappear. They build up, creating tension or resentment that could have been fixed with honest words. And that's why it matters. Choosing to stay quiet might seem easy in the moment, a way to avoid conflict or discomfort, but it often leaves a lasting mark, not just on you, but on the world around you. Finding your voice, even when it's shaky, is a powerful act. It's about letting your truth, your question, or your feeling take its rightful space. Because sometimes, the most profound changes begin with a whisper that refuses to stay silent. The impossible favor someone asks. Have you ever been asked to do something that felt truly impossible? Not just hard, but like being told to be in two places at once, or to choose between two things you love equally. This is a kind of dilemma that feels like a heavy weight, because no matter what you do, it feels wrong. It's a favor someone asks, but it's one you simply can't fulfill without causing real harm, or breaking a part of yourself. Here's the thing about these impossible favors. They're not about laziness or not wanting to help. They're about being stuck in a situation where every path leads to a kind of loss. Ancient thinkers, way back in history, would talk about these situations. They knew that sometimes, life puts you in a corner where there is no good answer, only answers that hurt in different ways. It's a core part of being human, to face choices where your heart aches for every option you can't pick. Imagine this. Your two closest friends are both having huge, once-in lifetime events on the exact same Saturday. One is a big family celebration you promised to attend. The other is your best friend's art show, their first ever, and they're really nervous. Both friends need you there, desperately. You can't clone yourself. Choosing one feels like letting the other down in a terrible way, and there's no way to make both happy. That feeling of dread, that gut punch of knowing you'll hurt someone you care about, even when it's not your fault, that's the impossible favor. And that's why it matters to think about these moments. They teach us that sometimes, life is messy. There isn't always a neat solution or a happy ending. Sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is acknowledge the impossible choice, and understand that some burdens simply cannot be lifted, no matter how much you wish they could. It's a quiet, heavy truth, but understanding it can also bring a strange kind of peace. The problem that keeps coming back. Have you ever noticed how some big questions just keep showing up? No matter how many times we try to answer them, it's like they're always there, tucked away in the back of our minds, waiting. These aren't the kind of problems you can solve with a math equation or by looking up an answer online. These are different. These are problems humans have wrestled with for ages, with no final, perfect answer. Think about people from thousands of years ago in ancient Greece. They sat under the stars, wondering about fairness, a good life, why we even exist. Guess what? We're still wondering about those same things today. The world changes, technology leaps forward, but these core questions, these deep dilemmas, keep coming back to visit us. Here's an example from your own life. Maybe, imagine your friend tells you a secret, but you know telling the truth would really hurt someone else. So, you have a choice. Protect your friend's secret and let a small lie continue, or tell the truth and cause pain. Which is right? If you choose one way, does it feel completely right? or does doubt linger? There's no easy yes or no that always works. Each time this pops up, we have to think it through again. And that's why it matters. These problems that keep coming back aren't weaknesses. They show us something important about being human. They teach us that life has layers, and not everything fits into a simple box. It's okay, even good, to live with these questions. Thinking about them, talking about them, exploring different sides helps us grow. It helps us understand the world, not by finding an answer, but by getting comfortable with its vast, beautiful mystery. It shows us learning isn't just about facts, but about the journey of asking. When doing nothing is still a choice, have you ever just stopped, frozen in a moment, unsure what to do next? It feels like you're not making a choice, right? Like you're waiting for something to happen, or for someone else to decide. But here's the thing. Doing nothing is often its own powerful choice. Imagine you're standing at a crossroads. One path left, one right. You just stand there. You don't pick a path. You might think you're avoiding a decision, but by staying put, you've chosen to remain where you are. You've chosen not to move forward, and that has consequences, just like any other choice. Maybe you miss an opportunity. Maybe you just get stuck. This idea isn't new. This idea is thousands of years old. Ancient thinkers knew silence speaks, and inaction changes things. They knew that if you don't step in to stop something bad, you're not stopping his permission. It's like a quiet nod, letting things unfold. It carries weight. Think about a group project for school. Everyone has a part. One person doesn't do their share. They don't say no, they just don't do it. They don't show up to meetings. This isn't just not acting. It's a real decision. It impacts the whole group. The project suffers. Other people have to work harder. Their inaction has a ripple effect, like dropping a stone into still water. The ripples spread, touching everything. So, when life gives you a moment of stillness, remember this. Even in quiet moments, a choice is happening. Even when you feel stuck, there's a choice in staying stuck. It asks us to be mindful, even of our pauses. It reminds us that our presence, or our absence, always counts. Every moment holds a silent power, urging us to feel the weight of our stillness. Sometimes, the loudest choice is the one you never make out loud. The secret that could explode everything. Have you ever held a secret so big, it felt like a tiny ticking bomb in your chest? Something you know, but if anyone else found out, everything would change. Not just a little, but a total, absolute shake-up. That's the kind of secret we're talking about here. It's a truth so powerful, so raw, that keeping it hidden feels like carrying the world's weight, and letting it out could shatter that world completely. Here's the thing about these secrets. People throughout history have faced them. Kings, leaders, even regular folks have kept huge truths locked away. Sometimes for peace, sometimes for power, sometimes just to protect someone. Think about a time when a whole town believed one thing, but a few people knew the real story, the one that went against everything they held dear. Maybe it was about how a leader came to power, or a hidden danger. The choice to speak or stay silent can carve out entirely different futures. Imagine your best friend finds out a huge secret about your school's sports team, something that could get the whole team disqualified. It's an undeniable truth. But if your friend tells, the team, which everyone loves and works hard for, is ruined. If they don't tell, they're living with a lie, and the unfairness eats at them. They know this truth, if shared, could blow up all the hard work, all the glory, and friendships too. It's a silent, powerful force, and that's why it matters. Knowing such a secret isn't a superpower, it's a deep burden. It makes you wonder, is silence always a protection, or can it be a quiet, slow destruction? Sometimes, the hardest choice isn't between right and wrong, it's between two different kinds of pain, both caused by a truth too big to hold. It leaves you with a quiet ache, thinking about the unsaid words, and the worlds that hang in their balance. The burden of someone else's choices. Have you ever felt caught in a situation, not because of anything you did, but purely because of what someone else decided? It's a strange, heavy feeling, isn't it? It's when choices made by others, maybe your parents, your friends, people in charge, or even people who lived generations ago, reach out and deeply touch your own life. Sometimes these choices pull you in directions you never planned. You didn't pick this path, but here you are, walking it anyway. This idea isn't new. Think about history. Long, long ago, in ancient societies, if your parents were farmers, you were almost certainly going to be a farmer too. It wasn't about your dreams or what you wanted to do. Their life's choice, their place in the world, often shaped your entire future. Or consider the massive choices made during big historical events, like wars. People far away, sometimes leaders you've never met, decide to go to battle, and suddenly, the lives of countless young people are changed forever, even if they had no say in starting the conflict. The powerful ripples of those big choices spread out, affecting everyone in their path. Here's a simpler example that might hit closer to home. Imagine your family decides to move to a whole new town because of one of your parents' jobs. You didn't choose the new school, the new friends you have to make, or leaving your old life behind. But you live with that big choice. You have to adapt, build a new normal. Or, think about group projects in class. If just one person doesn't do their part, everyone else in the group feels that pressure. Their decision to not work hard becomes a problem for everyone else, impacting grades and stress levels. It's a quiet reminder that we are all deeply connected. Our lives are like individual threads, carefully woven into a giant, shared fabric. When one thread shifts, when one person makes a significant choice, others inevitably feel the tug. And that's why it truly matters to be thoughtful, to see how our own decisions might create either burdens or unexpected blessings for others, whether we know them personally or not. Sometimes, the quietest act of courage isn't just making your own choices, but learning to live gracefully with the silent, lasting echo of someone else's. The decision that hurts no matter what. Have you ever faced a choice where every path forward felt heavy, where it seemed like no matter what you picked, something good would be lost, or someone would be sad? That feeling, that ache in your chest, is at the heart of what we call a no-win situation. It's not just about losing a game. It's about choosing between two things that both carry a cost, a real hurt. These are the moments that truly test us. Think about stories, even ancient myths. Heroes often faced moments like this. They might have to choose between saving one person they loved dearly or protecting an entire village of strangers. There wasn't a right answer that made everyone happy. The pain was built into the choice itself. Sometimes, thinkers talk about these as true dilemmas, where your moral compass spins wildly because every direction points to some kind of sacrifice. It's about living with the weight of that choice, knowing you did your best, even when best still means someone feels pain. Here's an example. Imagine your best friend tells you a big, important secret and asks you to promise never to tell anyone. You promise, but then, you learn that keeping this secret might actually harm another friend, or even your best friend themselves, in the long run. What do? Do you break your promise, hurting your best friend's trust, but potentially helping someone? Or do you keep the promise, feeling guilty that harm might come? There's no easy way out. Both choices feel like they rip a little piece out of you. It's not about being bad, it's about being human, caught in a hard spot. Sometimes, life hands us these moments. They teach us that bravery isn't always about fighting a monster. Sometimes, it's about making a decision that breaks your own heart a little, knowing that no matter what, you tried to do what felt right, even when right felt so terribly wrong. It's about accepting that some hurts can't be avoided, only carried, and that's a part of growing up, understanding the quiet strength it takes to face those choices, and to live with them. Being the only one who saw. Have you ever seen something happen? Something really clear, but when you look around, no one else even noticed. Or maybe they saw it, but they remembered it differently. That feeling can be strange, right? It's like you're holding a piece of the world, a moment of truth, but it only exists for you. It's not always about being right or wrong, but about that deep, quiet space where your experience stands alone. Think about people from history. Imagine an early astronomer looking through a new telescope for the first time. They might have seen something totally new in the sky, like moons orbiting a distant planet, but others, without that special tool, couldn't see it. For a while, that truth was theirs alone. Or consider someone who noticed a tiny detail about how the human body worked, long before science could prove it. They carried that knowledge, that specific sight, without immediate proof or agreement from others. It can be a lonely place, holding a truth that no one else shares yet. Here's an example. Imagine you're at a busy school assembly. Someone slips on the stairs, just a quick stumble, and you see it clearly, the way they caught themselves, the slightly embarrassed look. But then the assembly continues, and no one around you seems to have noticed. You glance at your friend, but they're focused on the speaker. You know what you saw, but in that moment, it's a tiny secret, a piece of reality that only you witnessed. your eyes caught something unique. This isn't just about big discoveries. It's about how our own minds filter the world around us. It makes us realize that each person's view of reality is their own, a unique mix of observations. Sometimes, being the only one who saw means carrying a quiet certainty, a small corner of truth that belongs only to you. And that's a powerful, sometimes lonely, part of being human. It makes us wonder about truth itself, and how much we really share, even when standing side by side. The choice between two evils. Have you ever been stuck between two options, and both of them feel wrong? It's like a fork in the road where both paths lead to trouble. This heavy feeling is what we call the choice between two evils. It means you have to pick the option that seems less bad, because there isn't a truly good one. There's no easy way out of it. People have grappled with these hard choices for ages. They know that sometimes, even trying your best, you can't avoid a bad outcome. So, you pick the path that causes the least harm, or the least pain. It's a tough part of being human, a heavy truth we sometimes face. Imagine your friend tells you a secret about another student. It's not mean, but if it gets out, it will really embarrass them. Then, someone else asks you directly if you know anything. You have two bad choices. You could lie, which feels wrong, or you could tell the truth, breaking trust and causing public shame. Both feel heavy, don't they? You pick one, hoping to lessen the hurt. These moments aren't about finding a perfect answer. They're about how we deal with life's messy parts. It's about accepting that sometimes, even with a good heart, we might make a choice that leaves a mark, a feeling of sadness. But here's the thing. Picking the lesser evil is still a choice made with care. It's trying to limit damage in a world that isn't always fair, and in a quiet way that shows strength. The promise made in anger. Have you ever said something in anger you instantly wished you could take back? Words that just spilled out when you were hurt or frustrated. Anger is a powerful fire, and sometimes, in its heat, we make promises, not always good ones. These are vows born from a storm, spoken not from a calm heart, but from a whirlwind of emotion. Imagine getting really mad at a friend and declaring, "I'll never talk to you again," or frustrated with a game, yelling, "I swear I'm deleting this forever." In that moment, it feels incredibly real, doesn't it? It feels like the only way to express your deep feelings. People throughout history have understood the power of words. Ancient cultures and philosophers saw oaths as sacred. Once spoken, they were believed to bind you to your honor. Words held a hidden power, creating an invisible chain. But here's the problem. What happens when anger fades? The storm passes, and calm returns. Yet the promise, made in the heat, still hangs there. It's like throwing a rock. Once it leaves your hand, you can't get it back. Your feelings change. You might want to fix things with your friend, or miss that game, but you made a promise. That becomes the dilemma. This creates a deep conflict. Do you break your promise, feeling like you've gone back on your word? Or do you stick to it, sacrificing something you now regret? It's a quiet battle between your furious past self and your calmer present self. It makes us wonder how much control emotions have over future choices. Words born from pain can carry a heavy weight, long after the pain is gone. The path where all doors are closed. Have you ever felt truly stuck? Like you're in a maze, but every single turn you take leads to a wall. This isn't just about making a hard choice. This is about facing a path where the doors seem locked, or what lies behind each one is something you desperately want to avoid. It's a place where every option leads to a difficult outcome, and there's no clear way to win. You stand at a crossroads, but every road ahead looks equally grim. For a long time, people have thought about these kinds of impossible situations. Think about ancient stories, like old Greek plays. The heroes in those tales often found themselves trapped by fate, or by choices made long ago. They had to pick between two terrible things, knowing that sorrow would follow no matter what they did. It was like the universe itself had pushed them into a corner, with no real escape. Their journey was not about finding the best door, but realizing all doors were closed to a happy ending. Here's an example. Imagine your two best friends get into a huge fight. They both come to you, asking you to pick a side. If you support one, you hurt the other deeply. If you try to stay neutral, both might feel like you're not a true friend. Every path you can choose means pain for someone you care about, and maybe for you too. There isn't a secret third door where everyone suddenly makes up and smiles. It's just not there. Feeling this kind of no-exit dilemma can be heavy. It reminds us that not everything in life has a perfect solution. Sometimes, the path forward is simply to acknowledge the deep difficulty of the situation. It's about understanding that some doors really are closed, and that's a tough truth to face. We might not find a way out, but we can find strength in recognizing the impossible for what it is. When justice isn't served, have you ever seen something happen and just felt a deep ache inside? Maybe a small wrong, or a big one, but the feeling was the same. It just wasn't fair. This is the heart of what it means when justice isn't served. It's when someone does harm, but doesn't face the consequences they should. Or when someone suffers greatly, and there's no way to truly make it right again. It leaves a raw, empty space where things should have been balanced for a very long time. People have tried to understand this feeling. Ancient societies, and even thinkers before them, dreamed of a world where everything was always fair. They imagined a perfect balance, where good actions led to good outcomes, and bad ones were always met with punishment. They built laws and courts, all to try and reach that ideal. But here's the thing, real life is messy. Sometimes, even with all our efforts, the scales don't tip the way they should. Think about it like this. Imagine your favorite video game. You play by the rules, you work hard, but then someone uses a cheat code, wins unfairly, and still gets all the glory. It feels wrong, doesn't it? It's not just about losing the game, it's about the broken promise of fairness, the idea that effort should matter. That feeling in the game, multiplied by real-life situations, shows how powerful this dilemma can be. When justice isn't served, it can make us feel confused or even angry. It challenges our belief that the world should make sense, that right and wrong have clear lines. It's a quiet, heavy question that stays with us. This might work for you to think about. Sometimes, the hardest parts of life are when we realize there's no easy answer, no simple way to fix what's broken. And that understanding, while tough, is part of growing up and facing the world as it truly is. The feeling of being powerless. Have you ever felt that heavy feeling, deep in your stomach, when something big is happening and you just can't do anything? It's like watching a movie, seeing something bad coming, but you can't shout to the characters. That's the feeling of being powerless. It's when you desperately want to change, fix, or stop something, but your hands are tied. Your voice won't carry. It's a moment when you realize some forces are simply too big for you, or for anyone, to control. Ancient people felt this too. They looked at the sky, at storms. They saw lightning or crops fail. They probably felt this powerlessness even more. They couldn't predict or stop it. Philosophers talked about accepting what you cannot change. They understood some things are just beyond our reach. Here's the thing, this idea isn't new. Humans have always wrestled with what they can control and what they simply have to live with. Imagine you worked really hard on a school project. You poured your heart into it. Then, your computer crashes and the file is gone, completely gone. You try everything, but it's not coming back. Or maybe, someone you care about is hurting, really sad. You try every kind word, but you can't magically take their pain away. You see their tears. You wish you could make them disappear, but you can't. That's a sharp, difficult feeling. It's realizing your effort isn't always enough to change the outcome, and that's okay. It's part of being human. Acknowledging this doesn't make you weak. Instead, it makes you thoughtful. It helps you see what truly matters. Not always changing everything, but how you react to what you can't change. It's about finding strength in your kindness, your resilience. It helps you focus on where you do have power. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is just keep breathing and be present. The voice inside that says, no. Have you ever felt a tug inside you? A whisper, maybe, that tells you to stop, to think again, even when everyone else is pushing forward. It's not an actual sound, not like someone speaking to you from your stomach. It's more like a feeling, a deep sense that something isn't quite right. We all have it. It's that quiet no in your head, even when your friends are saying yes loudly. It's a subtle resistance, a gentle alarm bell ringing softly within you. Think about it. For thousands of years, people have talked about this inner voice. Ancient thinkers called it a conscience or a demon, like a personal, inner guide. They believed it was a part of you that knew right from wrong, a kind of internal moral compass. It's not about being religious or anything like that. It's about that deep, human sense of what feels true to you, what aligns with your deepest values. Here's the thing, imagine you're with your friends, and they're about to do something that seems cool, but deep down, you know it could cause trouble or hurt someone. Maybe it's a dare to prank a teacher, or to say something mean about another student online. Everyone else is laughing, egging each other on, and the pressure to join in feels huge. But then, there's that tiny pause in your gut, that slight hesitation. That's the voice. It's not shouting, it's just a soft, steady no, telling you to reconsider, to protect yourself, or to protect others from harm. And that's why it matters. This voice isn't always easy to hear, especially when things are loud around you, or when you really want to fit in. But listening to it, even for a moment, can be incredibly powerful. It's a part of you trying to keep you safe, trying to guide you toward what truly feels right and good for you. It's a quiet strength, a reminder that you have your own wisdom inside, always there to help you navigate the tricky parts of life with courage and kindness. The crossroads with no signposts, asterisk, asterisk, the crossroads with no signposts, asterisk, asterisk, SOFT. Reflective voice. Have you ever stood at a place where you had to choose, but every path looked the same? Not just confusing, but deeply unknown. That's the crossroads with no signposts. It's not about making a wrong choice. Sometimes, there isn't a right one. It's about facing true uncertainty. Here's the thing, these moments aren't about solving a puzzle. Imagine ancient travelers. Before maps, they faced diverging paths. No signs, no markers, just two trails into the trees. Which way to go? Both could lead to safety, or both to a tougher journey. This feeling of being without guidance, yet needing to move, has been with us for ages. People have wondered how we find our way when logic isn't enough. It's about more than direction. It's what we feel inside. Think about this. Two close friends argue. Both come to you, upset, asking you to take their side. You care deeply for both. If you side with one, you hurt the other. If you stay neutral, both might feel you didn't support them. There's no easy answer, no perfect solution that makes everyone happy and keeps your feelings safe. It feels like standing in a big intersection, every road leading to more questions, not clear answers. This might work for you to remember. The hardest choices aren't about finding the best path. They're about understanding some paths just asterisk are asterisk hard, and that's okay. Facing that difficulty with an open heart is the real journey. It's a quiet truth, a reminder that growth often comes from navigating deep unknowns, even when you feel alone making the call. It shows a different kind of strength, one that accepts the mystery and keeps going anyway. The burden of expectation. Have you ever felt a heavy weight on your shoulders, like an invisible force pressing down? It's that feeling when others, or even you, expect something big to happen. It's the pressure to be a certain way, to achieve something specific, or to live up to an idea of who you should be. Maybe it's your parents hoping for straight A's, or your coach expecting a win. This feeling, that's the burden of expectation. Think about it. For hundreds of years, people have had ideas about how life should be lived. Ancient thinkers talked about what a good person acts like. Kings and queens were born into huge expectations, not just for themselves but their entire kingdom. They didn't get a choice. The role was simply asterisk their asterisk. Society sets up these invisible rules, these hopes, and sometimes they feel like a tightrope we have to walk. Here's an example. Imagine you love to draw. You make a picture, and everyone says it's amazing. They even tell you you're going to be a famous artist. Now, every time you pick up a pencil, there's a quiet voice. It asks, will this drawing be as good as the last one? Will it impress everyone again? This pressure can make drawing feel less fun. You feel like you can't just create, but you have to asterisk, perform asterisk. The joy starts to disappear under the weight of trying to meet that big expectation. It's a tough spot, because you didn't ask for that weight. But here's the thing, sometimes the strongest expectations come from inside ourselves. We want to be great, to make people proud, and that desire can become a burden all its own. So, what if we just allowed ourselves to asterisk, be asterisk? What if we knew it's okay to try, to not always hit the mark, and still be okay? Maybe the biggest lesson is learning to carry that weight gently, or even set it down when needed. It's about finding peace with who you are, separate from what others might wish you to be. That can be incredibly freeing. The time you can't get back. Have you ever stopped and truly thought about a moment passing? Like when a clock ticks, or a favorite song ends, that exact second, that specific note, is gone forever. It vanishes, not into thin air, but into the past, unreachable. This idea might seem simple, but it carries a deep weight when you really think about it. Here's the thing about time. it only moves forward. It's like a river, always flowing in one direction. An ancient Greek thinker named Heraclitus put it perfectly a long, long time ago. He said you can't step into the same river twice. The water you step into is constantly moving, constantly new. Our lives are like that river. The you reading this right now is already different from the you who started this sentence, even if only by a tiny fraction of a second. And that's why it matters. Every laugh, every quiet thought, every challenge you face, they are unique. You can't save them to replay later in exactly the same way. Think about a sandcastle on the beach. You build it, and it's beautiful. But then the tide comes in. You can build another one, maybe even better. But the first one, that specific arrangement of sand and shells, is gone. It dissolved back into the ocean, and that moment of its existence is over. This isn't meant to make us feel sad or anxious. Instead, it's a quiet invitation. It's a chance to truly notice the moments we have, to feel the sun on your face, to listen to a friend's story, to really be present in whatever you're doing. Because each second is a gift that can only be opened once. When it's gone, it truly cannot be retrieved. And that makes every single one incredibly special, doesn't it? The unseen consequences. Have you ever stopped to think about how one tiny thing you do today could change everything later? It's kind of a big question, right? We usually only look at the first obvious results of our actions. But here's the thing. There's often a whole bunch of other stuff that happens, stuff we don't see or even expect. These are the unseen consequences. They're like those small waves that keep traveling across a lake long after a rock has sunk to the bottom. People have thought about this for a really long time. Old legends and philosophers, even way back when, understood that life is complicated. They knew a king's small choice might affect everyone in his land for generations. You might have heard of something called the butterfly effect. It's a simple way of saying that a butterfly flapping its wings in one part of the world could, in a super long chain of events, eventually lead to a big storm somewhere else. It reminds us that everything is linked, and our smallest choices can set off really big, surprising changes. Think about something simple, like deciding to help a classmate with their homework when you're busy. You might just think, okay, I helped them, but maybe because of that, they passed a test they would have failed, which then gave them the confidence to try out for a school play. And that play helps them discover a passion for acting that shapes their whole future. You just helped with homework, but your small act created a ripple effect, changing a whole lot more than you could have ever known. So, when we make choices, big or small, it's not just about the moment. It's about remembering that the world is an amazing, interconnected place, like a giant web. Every action, every kind word, every path we choose or don't choose, sends out tiny signals. These signals can lead to outcomes we might never have guessed. This thought helps us be a little more careful, a little more kind, and a little more aware of the quiet impact our lives have on the world around us. The trap of what if. Have you ever spent hours thinking about something that didn't happen, or kept replaying a moment, wondering if you'd done just one small thing differently? That feeling, that endless loop in your mind, is the trap of what if. It's like standing at a crossroads, but instead of picking a path, you keep imagining every single road you could take, and every possible outcome, good or bad. And the problem is, you never actually move. You just stay stuck, right there, in your head. This isn't a new feeling. People have wrestled with what if for centuries. Ancient thinkers knew how easy it was to get lost in possibilities instead of living in the now. They understood that spending all your energy on things that might have been, or might be, takes away from the one thing that truly exists, this very moment. It's not about ignoring planning for the future, but about not letting imagination paralyze action. Think about it like this. You're planning a trip with friends. You could spend days, maybe weeks, imagining every single thing that could go wrong. What if it rains? What if someone gets sick? What if you forget something important? Each what if creates a new worry, a new scenario in your head. Soon, the fun of the trip is overshadowed by all the things that haven't even happened, and likely won't. This endless cycle of possibilities can make us feel anxious, frozen in place. It takes away our peace and keeps us from enjoying what's right in front of us. So, how do we break free? It's about remembering that the future is unwritten, and the past is unchangeable. The what-if game is often played in a space that doesn't really exist. We can acknowledge those thoughts, see them for what they are, just thoughts, and then gently bring ourselves back to the present. It means choosing to focus on what you can do, what you are doing right now. It means finding calm in the face of all the unknown possibilities and deciding to live the story that is actually happening, not the countless versions that only exist in your head. The fear of the unknown. Have you ever felt that shiver, that knot in your stomach, when you just don't know what's coming next? It's not about seeing a monster. It's about not seeing anything. That feeling, that's the fear of the unknown. It's a deep, powerful emotion, not just worry, but a profound unease about what lies beyond our understanding. Think about our ancient ancestors. Everything outside their small camp was a mystery. A rustle in the dark could mean danger. They didn't have maps. Their minds created myths to explain what they couldn't see. This fear helped them survive, keeping them alert. It also birthed legends of monsters. Here's the thing, that ancient feeling is still inside us today. It's like walking into a completely dark room. You know the room is safe, but in the pitch black, your imagination takes over. Every creak becomes a monster, every shadow a threat. You might even trip over a chair because you can't see it. It's not the chair that's scary. It's that you don't know where it is. This lack of information can make your heart race, and that's why it matters when we face big life changes, like starting a new school or moving. You don't know your teachers, what friends you'll make. This can make you feel anxious, right? It's not that those things are bad, it's just that they're unknown. So, what do we do with this powerful feeling? We acknowledge it, we notice that uncertainty, and then, sometimes, we take a small step anyway. Facing the unknown, even a little, helps us discover new things about the world and ourselves. It's how we grow. Sometimes, the most beautiful discoveries are made beyond what we knew. Being brave means stepping forward, even when the path isn't clear. The responsibility of freedom The responsibility of freedom Have you ever really thought about what it means to be free? We often picture freedom as getting to do whatever we want, whenever we want. No rules, no limits, just pure choice. But here's the thing, with every bit of freedom we get, something else grows right alongside it. That something is responsibility. It's like a shadow that appears when the light of freedom shines. This idea isn't new. People have talked about it for thousands of years. Think about those in history who bravely fought for their countries to be free. They weren't just fighting for the to make their own choices. They were also taking on the weight of those choices. They understood that once you are free to decide, you also become responsible for what happens next. It's a deep, powerful truth that humans have grappled with through history. Imagine you're on a group project for school. Everyone is free to decide how to do their part. Maybe you choose to finish your section quickly, or maybe you choose to spend your time playing video games instead. That's your freedom. But here's the problem. If you don't do your part, the whole project could suffer, and your friends might get a bad grade. Your choice, your freedom, also comes with the responsibility for the group's success, or sometimes, its failure. Your actions create ripples, affecting not just you, but others too. So, freedom isn't just a wonderful gift, it's also a serious task. It asks us to think deeply, to care about the results, and to understand that our decisions hold real power. This might sound heavy, but really, it means you have incredible strength. It means your choices aren't just random acts. Instead, they are threads you weave into the fabric of your own life, and into the world around you. And that's a beautiful, challenging thought. The lesson you can't unlearn. Have you ever learned something that just stuck with you, forever changing how you see the world? That's what we're talking about with the lesson you can't unlearn. It's not about memorizing facts or dates. It's a deep understanding, a realization that settles in your bones and shifts your perspective permanently. Imagine those dilemmas we've explored, those tricky situations where there's no clear right or wrong, no easy exit. The lesson you can't unlearn is the quiet, profound acceptance that some parts of life are just like that. They are messy, they are complicated, and they don't always have a neat solution, a perfect happy ending. For a long, long time, people have thought about this. Ancient thinkers, sitting by fires or under stars, realized that not every problem has a simple answer. They knew that sometimes, life hands you choices where both paths lead to some kind of pain, or both options feel incomplete. This isn't about being smart, it's about seeing truth. Think about an optical illusion, like that drawing that can be a young woman or an old woman. Once someone points out both figures to you, can you ever go back to only seeing one? No. Your brain has learned to see both possibilities, and you can switch between them. You can't unsee the other picture. It's the same with life's hardest truths. Once you understand that sometimes there are no perfect answers, only choices with consequences, you can't pretend otherwise. This might feel a little heavy, maybe even a bit sad, but here's the thing. It also makes you incredibly strong. It teaches you honesty about the world. It helps you deal with complexity without getting overwhelmed. You learn to walk through life knowing some things are just tough, and that's okay. It's a quiet wisdom, helping you find a different kind of peace in a complicated world. The choice that has no right answer. Have you ever faced a decision where every option felt wrong? Where no matter what you picked, someone or something would get hurt? That's what we mean by a choice that has no right answer. It's not about picking between good and bad. It's about choosing between two difficult paths, or sometimes two bad ones. Each path has real costs. Each choice leaves a mark on your heart. Think about stories from long ago, or even from wartime. Sometimes people were forced into choices that were impossible, like a captain on a sinking ship, needing to save some but leave others, knowing lives would be lost either way. Ancient thinkers talked about these moments. They called them moral dilemmas. These weren't easy puzzles. They were heart-wrenching situations where being good didn't have a clear path. There was no instruction manual for how to feel or what to do. Here's what I found when thinking about this for today. Imagine your two best friends are fighting really badly. One tells you a secret about the other, a secret that explains why they're so upset. Your other friend asks you to take their side and not tell the first friend what you know. You know if you tell the secret, you might fix things, but you'd break a trust. If you keep the secret, you're siding with one, and the fight might just get worse. There's no easy way out. You care about both, and that's why it matters. You want to do good, but there isn't a simple good choice waiting. These moments sting. They ask us to live with the weight of our decisions, even when those decisions feel unfair. It's not about finding a perfect solution. Sometimes there isn't one. It's about understanding that life sometimes puts us in spots where courage isn't just about facing danger, but about choosing a path when all paths are hard. It's about how you carry the choices you make, and how you learn to live with the difficult feelings that come afterward. And that's okay. It's part of what makes us human, and it makes us think deeper about our hearts. Forever stuck in the middle, ever felt completely caught, like two strong forces are pulling at you, and you just can't move? That feeling, where there's no clear way forward, no obvious choice, that's what we mean by being forever stuck. It's not about picking good or bad. It's about being held between two things that seem equally important, or equally tough, or equally appealing. But you can only pick one. Neither choice feels like a true escape. It's a heavy feeling, this inability to find a way out. Long ago, thinkers imagined a specific problem. They pictured a donkey, perfectly placed between fresh hay and cool water. It was equally hungry and thirsty. The story says, the donkey couldn't decide. Both options felt so balanced, it just stayed stuck. It's a sad thought, showing how perfect balance can sometimes be a trap, leaving you frozen. Think about a common moment. Maybe you're standing on a line. On one side, your best friend needs your support right now. On the other, another good friend needs your help just as urgently. You can only go to one. Both situations demand your attention. Both friends matter deeply, and that's why it's so tough. You feel totally torn, your heart pulled in two directions. You want to help both, but you simply can't. Being stuck in the middle can be a very confusing feeling. It makes us question if there's always a right answer, or if sometimes the only answer is to just accept the pull from both sides. It teaches us that some moments aren't about winning or losing, but about enduring the weight of not knowing. It reminds us it's okay to feel that tension, to pause, and to understand that some paths simply don't have an easy exit, and sometimes that's just how life is.